Yeah. Okay, we're there. If it's Friday, guess what? You're muted. He's steady talking. We muted. You can't. You're
Well,
muted.
welcome to All Politics are Local, America's number one political
Number one.
show. Y'all know if it's Friday, y'all know it's time for All Politics are Local. So we have a really great show tonight. So Zaid, you want to give them the rundown?
Well, first, let me just say I'm thankful to put Ed and Afisa here because I was originally one I was going to be totally solo because this is Black Love Day and a lot of our team is getting a lot of good love and I'm happy for them.
Uh,
Right. But at
right.
the same time, the struggle continues.
That's
And
right.
tonight we have a lot to touch on. Backstage joining us in a moment is Lisa Davis of the Black is Back Coalition, doing great work with the Uhuru movement. Got jammed up in a petty situation at a anti-Zionist rally in South Orange. The only sister in the crowd, and some racist Zionist came at her, and the police came in and took his side. And so she's facing a charge and is going to be in court on February 21st, which of course is the 60th anniversary of the ever haunting assassination of Malcolm X, right? After that, we got some of our soldiers from New Direction, some of our most blessed peacemakers in the Newer Community Violence-Based Intervention ecosystem. They're going to update us on some of their initiatives. 7 o'clock, I have a heavy discussion. Y'all got the Super Bowl-itis around Kendrick Lamar and Samuel Jackson, but there's a backstory that's been repressed. Glenn Foster Jr., New Orleans Saints player who killed in police custody in 2021. Ain't nobody talking about it the way they should. We're going to have Sabrina Foster, his mom, and Melina Abdullah of Black Lives Matter Grassroots coming back to join us to lift up that story and all of its dirty secrets. Behind them, I've got a young organizer from Equal Justice USA that I work with that I'm very proud of, doing some heavy coalition building work in Louisiana. Ain't just New Orleans, is Baton Rouge and all those towns around it. Louisiana is one of the most racist, schizophrenic states in this country. And this young lady is doing some groundbreaking coalition building work against that background. Josie Alexander will join us then. And whoever's left, I'm sure y'all want to talk about the drama of the Super Bowl, the drama of Trump, and all that comes with it. Full night, full of Black love, full of Black resistance and resilience. Let's ride.
All right. So we're gonna bring up Lisa Davis first.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Uhuru.
Uhuru.
Yes, Uhuru. And thank you so much for providing the kind of coverage and bringing attention to what has been going on with the Uhuru movement and also to what is currently going on with this bogus, ridiculous, scurrilous case that they have brought against me. It's extremely racist. I want to remind people that New Jersey was the state that gave us the term racial profiling, and what happened to me will certainly show why.
That's right.
Yes, and New Jersey operate, and this is blue MAGA. Let's be clear. This happened in South Orange, Democratic County, and it just also uh, it, it 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 uplifts the adage that ain't no black person has any rights that a white person is bound to respect.
Straight out of
And
the Dred Scott case. Take a beat. Take a beat, Lisa. You coming in blasting. Take a beat, catch your breath.
I'm coming blasted.
Are you ready to bang? I know you're ready to bang. That's what we
No, I
like.
am.
This little sister, let me just say this to introduce
Yeah.
you to the right way. This little sister, once upon a time, was the most militant female voice in the People's Organization for Progress and got tired of them dance with the Democratic Party and moved the hell on. And I ain't mad at you at all. I
Yep.
totally understand that. Totally understand that. And it's become a force within the Uhuru Democratic and the international Uhuru Democratic movement, particularly managing a lot of work with the Black is Back Coalition.
Right.
Right? So I'm glad we found your place and your space there. It's a great set of organizers who I love dearly, right? And a proud supporter and comrade of all of their efforts, right? And we've had some serious trials with them. We just had the Uhuru victory, or
Mhm.
partial. We still need to get the rest of that little bogus bullshit thrown out. But we're actually here to talk about what happened to you, right?
Exactly. And
God set up one of the healthy expressions, in spite of the genocide that is unfolding in our faith, is that there is a multiracial, intergenerational uh, movement of resistance protesting the genocide that actually includes a considerable portion of the Jewish community, right?
mhm,
In
yes.
this background, at a weekly Sunday anti-Zionist rally in South Orange, and yes, it is a democratic town with a facade of liberalism, right? You were at one of the rallies and became the target of the animus of some racist cracker, and the police taking his side the way racist police take the side, and wound up putting some bogus charges on you. And on February 21st, of all days, the anniversary of the assassination of Malcolm X, we're going to be in court. So let's catch your breath. Tell us
Yes.
about what happened on the 21st. What happened with you on the street, and what you need to do for you on the 21st.
Hey, and Lisa, do you have anything else open in the background? Because we're getting some feedback.
I only have my microphone. I don't have anything else. Could you give me an example of what else might be open that maybe is
You
could be
know,
happening?
like maybe another device might be on,
Oh,
or
maybe let me try turning my phone off, but hold on. I'm gonna try turning my phone off and see if that
Yeah,
will
let me
make it
give us
better.
that.
Um, is this better?
A little
yep,
better. A little
yep.
better.
So,
Go
Okay.
ahead. So
That's
go ahead,
that's
and tell us what you can tell us about what happened to you.
yes. It was a pro-Palestine vigil, a ceasefire now vigil, and I have to give a shout out to the organizers in South Orange, New Jersey, because I thought it was so important that in these suburbs that these voices be raised and that people would know that the issue for Palestine, for a free Palestine, had tremendous support in these suburbs. And I was
Mhm.
very happy to support, although I did not organize it. And I was kind of also relieved to not have to organize it, to see that this organizing was going on amongst this very diverse community. And some white comrades were taking the lead on this, but not just white comrades, also the voices of the Palestinian people and the Arab community. So I was always just very happy to go there and to support. And they had been having this weekly vigil in either South Orange or Maplewood since November. And so on March 31st, 2024, which happened to be Easter, not that that has any relevance to anything, um, we were having this vigil. And I came, and usually at the end of the vigil, they would allow people to make announcements. And again, when I go to these vigils, I always like to go there as support. I don't need the chants because I want it to come from the people most affected by it and also for the younger generation and the ones organizing it. And so on this particular date, and I happen to have a little small red plastic, what you could call a megaphone, wasn't mine, but I happened to have it in my hand because it was at the end of the vigil and I was about to make an announcement. And at that point, I hear all this clamor going on because somebody stopped their car almost in the middle of South Orange Avenue. You know what South Orange Avenue is in South Orange Village. And they get out of their car and they just start running into the crowd. There was about maybe 20 of us yelling and screaming, this unhinged, certainly emotionally distraught. He was having some kind of a breakdown or whatever. And I don't make light of that either. But he's yelling and screaming and ranting. And so, I had my camera, live streaming it because it's always important to document and to live stream things, but especially if you have a situation like that, because I wanted it to be, on camera in case people try to lie about what happened. And so
Mhm.
he yelling and screaming. And so at some point, I say to everybody, do not engage him. You could clearly see that I was trying to diffuse the situation. And he just continues yelling and screaming. And at some point, Brother Zaid, I believe you've seen the video, he gets into my face yelling and screaming. talking about Israel is mine and all this other kind of stuff. And at that point, people interceded and got around him to push him off to make sure that, he did not do something invisible. Exactly, although he was yelling and screaming. And then he takes off running into South Orange Avenue. And at some point, somebody called the police. Now, I will tell you right now, I am never comfortable calling the police because it usually never turns out well for Black people. So I didn't call the police, and I wasn't even comfortable with talking with them. But other people who were there, people who seen what happened, supporters, comrades who were, demanding a ceasefire that was happening and fighting for free Palestine, they began to tell the police what happened. And I was just kind of standing there, and they were saying that they clearly told the police that this guy had started coming after me and yelling and screaming. And so one officer, whose name I don't remember, he even said to me, "Do you want to press charges?" or something like that. He asked me. Again, I'm very hesitant about saying anything to the police. I didn't really say anything. I just sort of, backed off because I know we cannot trust saying anything to the police. Let's be clear about that. And then, but what I did say, I said, I have video of what happened because I wanted them to know that we do have video. This was live streamed in case they try to lie, but it didn't matter because they lied anyway. So Ryan Natural, or his name is spelled Naturale, so I don't know if it's Natural or Naturale or whatever. He says to me, because I said, I have video of what happened, and he said, could you send it to me? And I know usually to not even cooperate like that, but because it was on my live stream, it was public, I sent him the link to the video. And then we all leave, and in fact, some people sort of like observed how when they called an ambulance for the person, and they observed how, they tried to get the person into the ambulance, the guy gets out the ambulance and starts running. So he was having some kind of meltdown. But anyway, I go home, and the next thing I know, I'm getting 2 summonses in the mail charging me with organizing a special event without a permit, and with also making loud and continuous noises with an amplification device. And I want to be clear about this because it says the state of New Jersey versus Lisa Davis. And I also just have to say this, that the municipal prosecutor happens to be Black. And so is the municipal prosecutor is Garcia Robert Montelis, and the chief of police in South Orange is Black. And I'm like, so what does this all mean? I mean, if I'm in the wrong, then I'm in the wrong. Of course, if somebody is in the wrong, you should do the right thing no matter what. But this is clearly a case where I'm not in the wrong. This is clearly a case of something just made up that Ryan Natural wanted to just do this because he could. And then I am the only one that the state of New Jersey is coming after. And in the video, if you go to the petition site, the petition is tinyurl.com/BIB Lisa Davis.
We're going to post that. We're going to post that as soon as we can.
Great. If you go to that petition site, you will see 2 videos from 2 different perspectives. One from my perspective, because I was filming them, but also another one, the one that's a minute and like 90 seconds long, that's from another perspective. But you can still clearly see that this guy is being the aggressor. He's coming after, well, he sort of came after the crowd, and then he focused his attention on me because I was trying to diffuse the situation and telling everybody else, you don't have to, don't engage with him. And I will say this.
It should be said that you were the only Black woman in the space too.
Yes, I was the only black person, certainly the only Black person of African descent. Somebody else was there from India, they had dark skin, but it was clear I'm the only one of African descent, the only Black person there, and the only one being targeted. And I also want to say this much too. I stand in complete support of the organizers of this. I stand in complete support of the vigil. But
who are the organizers for everybody's sake? Who are the organizers? So everybody's got a clear picture.
I'm going to say Soma, South Orange Maplewood Collection,
Good,
Soma
good.
for Palestine.
Right.
Right, right. So this has been going on in the South Orange Maplewood area. And I think it's very, very important, the work that they have been doing, and they have been continuing it. And I try to support it as much as I can. But we have all these witnesses, you clearly see them telling the, I'm going to use the word beast officers because that's what they are. They don't protect us. You clearly see that. But what also this case showed, because it's more than about me, what is also very important about this case is that we usually know more what to do when we are the quote unquote suspect, when they're coming after us, when we have been accused of doing something wrongfully or not. We sort of are more prepared for how to respond, and we know, we have the right to remain silent and all of that. But this issue comes to, how do we respond and protect ourselves when we are the ones that is the potential victim, when we are the subject of somebody's aggression, and especially somebody white. And I have had, this is not my first rodeo with this kind of stuff. I was hit by a minivan in December of 1997 in New York City, going to work. Thank goodness the minivan was coming about 10 miles an hour. It wasn't coming that fast. And this was right by the First World Trade Center. And white guy hits me. He gets out the van. He's like, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. White officers showed up on the scene. They acted like they were so concerned. I'm standing there talking to the guy who hit me. And of course, I'm dazed because I was just hit by a minivan. And one of the white officers comes up to me and says, you know something? Why don't you get into the ambulance and get looked at? We're going to get all the information. Are you all right? Okay? With a smile. And so I do that. I get into the ambulance to be looked at. And when I go to get the police report, the police sided completely with the white guy who hit me, and they erased the accident. They didn't record an accident as happening. They did not record that I was hit by a car, a minivan at all. They didn't take his name. They said that I was walking down the street and I tripped. So they have that potential to do that as well. We cannot trust them in this colonialist system. And this is a clear example of that. I was thinking, I'm just going to go home. I think most people think they're just going to go home. This was this irate person who was having some kind of meltdown, and that the police did whatever they did, took him away, took him to get some help or whatever. And then that was going to be it.
And of
But
course,
clearly,
I go back with you when you had your ordeal with New Jersey Transit some years
yes,
ago too. I don't
right.
want to stray too far because we're tied on the spot. I want to acknowledge our
Yes.
co-host Williams that just jumped on. I want you to come back now to what's going to happen on June 1st. Just what were you charged with?
Organizing a special event without a permit and making loud and continuous noise with that amplification device.
Was anything felonious of the charges that you're facing?
I don't think so, but who can tell? To be honest with you, the only thing I could be facing a $2,000 fine. But
Because that's a big deal. The big
mhm.
difference between a felony and a misdemeanor. All right. Now, you have a petition. You also have a letter writing drive. Tell us about the letter writing drive.
Right. I'm asking everybody to please send letters to the governor, to the attorney general's office, to the mayor of South Orange, to the municipal prosecutor, and to the chief of police. It is very important that they know that people are watching this and that they're going to have to answer for this ridiculous, ridiculous charge. Just so unnecessary. Did not need to do it at all. Completely unnecessary. And I would also like people to sign the petition. If they go to the petition site again, tinyurl.com/BIB Lisa Davis. The court hearing or trial is February 21st. It's at 12 o'clock p.m. It's at the South Orange Municipal Court. The South Orange Municipal Court 1618 Springfield Avenue in Maplewood, New Jersey. Maplewood and South Orange share a court. So again, it's 1618 Springfield Avenue, Maplewood, New Jersey, 12 p.m., room 1.
They should be prepared for us packing the court. Some other background that's important. Several years ago, on the 4th of July of all days, fireworks, kids out enjoying the fireworks. The Maplewood South Orange police corralled a number of kids who were from Maplewood,
Mm-hmm.
corralled them to the Maplewood Irvington border without kicking them out of Maplewood because these little Negroes can't be from our town, and grabbed one of the bigger of the young people in this crowd and beat the hell out of these poor kids, right? And, the Matzo Freedom School, another important social justice force in that area, and my little brother and very dear and cherished Panther Cub, T.J. Whitaker, rallied that community in defense of this young man, and we packed that court as regular as we needed to for him. So the courts need to be prepared because we're going to be coming, right?
Oh,
I just
yes.
want to make sure we say that and remind folks, same space with Maplewood, those heads who were with us when we were rolling around that little brother in Maplewood. It's the same courtroom right up on South Orange Avenue. As you get up the hill out of Irvington into Maplewood on the right hand side of the street, right? 12 o'clock, February 21st.
Right. I mean, I just say one thing
Mm-hmm.
before I close out. And you brothers, Aid, have done a great job in making people aware.
Well, Lisa, before you say, because South Orange and Maplewood share a court, so I think you gave the address of the Maplewood court, and Zaid, you gave the address for the South Orange court.
It's the same one. They share the court building. Right. So that's the building where it's going to be.
It's going to be at the one on Springfield Avenue, not the one on South Orange Avenue.
Right, exactly. It's going to be the South Orange Municipal Court,
I hear what you're saying.
1618 Springfield Avenue, Maplewood, New Jersey. I don't know if you can see this.
Right. There you go.
And that's what it was where we were at in August. I think you were there, brothers Aid, in August. Were you there?
Yes.
Right. So that's exactly where it's going to be. But I want to say you did a great job, brothers Aid, in making people aware of the force report, which was a study of excessive force used throughout the state of New Jersey.
That was supposed to be done by the Attorney General of New Jersey.
Mm-hmm.
Never did it. The Ledger did it on their own. It's one of the best things that the Ledger has ever done. That needs to be updated. Right? So right on it, lifting that up. Now to ask Lisa the ritual question as we send that out.
May I just finish this one thing? They said in South Orange, New Jersey, that a Black person was 844% more likely to be abused by the police.
That's right.
Than white people.
That's the force.
And report. I think it shows.
That's the force report.
Yes.
Oh, right on. Got to ask her the ritual question. Let us take it.
Lisa, can you hear me?
Yes.
How are you doing these days?
I'm doing good in a revolutionary spirit, as well as can be expected considering the horrible times we live in. But go on.
And as you get out there and do this work in the revolutionary spirit, what music, what hip hop artist, individual or group do you listen to keep you inspired or help you to be motivated to get out there and do this work on a daily basis?
Tupac Shakur. I'm saying anybody's name comes to my mind. Who are some of the older groups, brothers Aid, who gave us don't push me because I'm
ain't your drum, baby. You got to answer that for yourself.
No, I can't think of don't push me because I'm close to the edge. I'm trying not to lose myself.
That's like the jungle sometimes.
It's the younger ones. And of course, I got to say Marvin Gaye because I'm always going to say Marvin Gaye. And of course, the Jackson 5 because I'm always going to say the Jackson 5. Always.
All right.
Well, thank you. And as you close, do you want to give that date and address one more time?
Certainly. Thank you so much. February 21st, Friday, 12 o'clock p.m., room 1, the South Orange Municipal Court, 1618 Springfield Avenue, Maplewood, New Jersey. And the website to go sign the petition, tinyurl.com/BIB Lisa Davis. And thank you so much.
You're welcome.
And Uhuru. And also, the Uhuru movement has won a tremendous victory. We're going to win another one this Friday.
That's right.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, thank you.
Yes. Uhuru.
Oh, all right. All right. Yeah, good session. I'm glad we were able to get her.
As we transition.
Yes, we should be young men from New Directions should be coming in now, right? Yeah, so who we got? They're coming in next.
We in there. You hear me?
We see you. We hear you. We don't see you.
Y'all see me? All right.
Yeah.
Got more light. I'm up in the car doing the service.
And Shadi, there we go. We see Shadi.
Yeah, I'm here.
You see me now?
Yes, sir. All right. Ted, is that you?
Yeah, that's me, man. That's me,
Oh,
man.
you in the dark. We can't see you good, son.
I know I gotta get a better lighting, man. That's my bad,
Or
bro.
or come back under the light again. Come back. Yeah.
Oh,
There you go. There you go.
Well, I'm gonna pull over in a lighter spot. I'm gonna get a light spot. I had to do a car service just now, so I pull over in a lighter spot so y'all can see my face better.
Or can you change the light around in your car?
So we got. I'm glad now. Y'all was supposed to get on last week. Was that right?
Yeah.
Shadi, right?
Yeah, last week.
Tell everyone. For this is an educational platform. This your first time coming on?
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
yeah.
Welcome.
It shouldn't be the first. So
Right,
New
right.
direction in the grade 8.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for having us.
Mhm.
Now, y'all. Now, this audience will be very familiar
Right.
with me always talking about the important, groundbreaking peacemaking work that we do with our newer community-based violence intervention ecosystem. We've had a lot of players doing this work in this space. We have the deputy mayor here regularly.
Right.
We've had folks from the street team. We have folks from the Brick City Peace Collective. Some of the many different voices over the years, the hub and whatnot, in this space, right? And
Right.
I'm glad to bring these young men into the space because they're very important on a very important front. The demographic that they're working with is a demographic that's right on the edge of where we're having these problems. And they've been doing a stellar job since they have emerged in our space doing what they do, right? So, Tut, you got this powerful name, powerful name, right? And Shadi, we're very proud to have both of you in the mix,
Yes,
right?
sir.
Now,
Thank
take a
you.
beat, y'all. Walk everybody through just who New Directions is,
Mhm.
how y'all get down, where y'all get down, right?
Right.
What y'all do, and then we'll talk about your priorities and then wind the segment up.
Okay. So
We're gonna
Ted
start
is
with
on
new
you.
direction or the grade 8. Who we gonna start with? New
Yeah,
direction?
we're gonna start with Ted.
Yeah,
Go
yeah.
ahead.
My name Khalil Tut. President founder New Direction. 360. So I'm a co-founder with my brother 8th the Great when I came home from prison. I did a significant amount of time in prison. For being involved in a lot of gang violence and activities, in our community around the time the gang stuff first came over the north. I was one of the ones that got caught up in that, wave of destruction and violence that, swept through our communities in those early 2000s. And I had went to jail for a significant charge that happened in our city. It was a high profile where a police officer lost his life at a school trying to protect students. And we came up there, trying to check on my sister over a school fight that, went left. And police officers tried to arrest me. And some of my guys with me moved out. And there was one thing led to another. One of them got hurt, killed, and I got, shot and went to prison, facing, life in prison for, something serious as that. It kind of like, humbled me and, made me wake up and see things for what it was worth for our community. And when I was away, I just kind of like tapped more into myself, got close to the God, my spirituality, found myself more. I got around some revolutionary brothers in there who was giving me the education on, Black history and what we supposed to be doing when it comes to the gangs and a lot of stuff that we wasn't conscious of when we was on the streets. Learned a lot of knowledge in there and just came home with a vision for my people. Because through the grace of God, I got another opportunity to come home. So I knew I had to come home with a different approach. So I knew I was going in a different direction. So we just came home and started the new direction for the gang culture. Try to bring them on board, with peace and safety in our community.
Right on. Shadi, jump in. Tell your version of this.
And I
Yes, sir.
apologize. It's 8 the Great. I'm sorry.
Yeah, nah, you good. You good.
That's does that. We
But
do that.
if I could just add on, while my brother was going through his trials and tribulations inside of there, what I mean, with being away for those 15 some odd years, um, I was out here, I was on the ground inside the community, and I pretty much got my start from being in Weekway High School when our current mayor was our vice principal at the time, the Honorable Raj J. Baraka. I met him when I was about 16 years old. He came in and he was our vice principal, and that was around the time when Tet was talking about the height of the gang culture came inside the city, and he came in as our vice principal, and he was trying to get the guys together, and get the get the kids to stop gang banging in the school, so to speak, right? So he started bringing incredible messages from the community, and every Wednesday he was calling us down to the auditorium and have a meeting so we could do conflict resolution, which had later become, he had become infamous for they gave it the title as he was hosting gang meetings inside of a school, which was completely blown out of narrative at the time. He was doing conflict resolutions. That was completely different from the gang meetings that we was doing outside of the schools. What I mean, for those who know. But he took a lot of he took a lot of heat for what he was doing, but he was galvanizing the people and the youth to see something different. And so I came up as a child of it, so I didn't fully understand it then, but a lot of seeds was planted back then because of my experience. I was one of those kids that was inside the auditorium in 2003, and then fast forwarded to being here to witness the birth of SOS and NAVC and all of the work that all of quite frankly that you guys was doing. So I always came in with, I always came into this with a different purpose than everybody else. Although I was engaged in, in the streets as a youth and coming up, I was interacting with the gangs. I was a part of it, but my mind was always, I just seen it as me representing my neighborhood. Me, just coming from tribal, we tribal people, and that was just something that I was upholding. And then fast forwarded to I had got shot, and then I was caught with possession of a firearm shortly after. So I had to I had to go to jail. Then I came back, I had my CDLs, and uh the mayor was running for mayor the first term, and my actually one of my first jobs, again was driving the bus right during the campaigns and riding around the city with OB and hanging up posters and flyers and things of that nature, and just being a part of that, and I always took notice to when you just said, when I become the mayor, we become the mayor. And to me, that never resonated as, okay, the mayor is my my mentor, my big brother. Now it's a get out of jail free card. I took it as I have something to uphold now, right? Because now if my brother is the mayor, then I have access to resources. And then my job was just to be able to give him something to uphold, for the same lack of better terms. And then I started doing for my community, and some guys took notice of me and introduced me to being a district leader. Then I actually won as being a South Ward district leader, and so then I realized, I had a little bit of saying power now, right? Because when the police pulled up in the neighborhood, they had to speak to Shadi Dukes, and I represented 569 people now. So now
Talk
I had a
about them
real
local
voice.
politics. Go ahead.
That's
Talk
right.
about
That's
them
right.
civics. Go
That's
ahead.
right. Because I was tired of us, if we the quote unquote bloods and we the tough guys in the neighborhood, why we always running from law enforcement, right? Like why we always being the tyrants of the neighborhood and not taking care of the neighborhood. So, I just wanted to start really, I really wanted to activate taking care of my neighborhood. I didn't fully know what it looked like, but I knew what it felt like because I came up under revolutionary soldiers like you guys here. And I just always wanted to uphold it in a higher honor because I stand on y'all shoulders, right? I'm a representation of. So, I just always wanted to uplift that. And then fast forward to, my brother Khalil Tut coming home, and he came home with the same message. We just came together. I was doing a podcast. I was just trying to amplify our voices out here, just to stand on something firm and something real. And then, when he came home and he had, infinite amount of street credibility inside of, inside of our neighborhood, I was tapped, I was outside, I was tapped in, but a lot of things that I was in, it wasn't documented, right? So now, you come home, you got Tech come home, and everything he's been through is documented in every form, so he can't be challenged, right? So now, once he came home and gave us that other part of the street credibility that we needed, it was just simple for us to just become a juggernaut because we knew what we was doing wasn't the wrong thing to do. So we always had courage. We was just utilizing it in the wrong places. And we just like to be in front, not because we are boastful guys, but we understand what's needed, right? We understand that we have to be out here. We have to do this podcast. We have to show everybody that we have relationships with you guys and that we stand together. So I ain't
And
gonna
you have
take
a
up too much
voice.
time.
That's
All
right.
right,
You have a voice, and before that council seat, there's that district leader seat, right? There you
that's
go.
right. That's right.
There you go. That's right.
That's
That's
right.
what's up. How many signatures did you have to get for that district leader seat?
So you want the truth, or you want the
Well, tell
or you
me.
just want
Tell
to
me.
answer?
Well, tell me
Okay.
the answer. I mean, because people don't realize for the district leader you have to get, but you always exceed, just in case people have duplicate. But so tell us both.
Right. So it's two sides to every coin, right? Um, I never believed in either side of the coin, whether it
Mm,
was Republican or Democrat, right?
okay.
I always believed in us, you know, galvanizing, doing for ourselves, because what we need is to be able to have a political voice and be able to centralize. And
Hmm.
so when I came in, I just seen two sides of a coin. I seen everybody as a Democratic Party, right?
Hmm.
And the lane was filled. My object was to sit in the chair. I didn't care if I sat from the left or the right side. So I went with a
Okay.
side. I went where it was less crowded at, and I went Republican because I wanted the power, right? So technically,
You playing chess. Okay, I see
that's
you.
right. So technically, it wasn't nobody on that side.
That's
So I
right.
went on that side, and only thing I basically needed was two, right? But on the flip side of it, right? Like, we talk about politics and things of that nature. Like, Uh, I believe that we need somebody in these spaces, but I believe in being a kingmaker. I believe in being a big fish in a small pond. I believe in being, no matter what. I don't care who wants this. I mean, if we're gonna be real, right? I don't care who wants to be the next mayor of Newark, New Jersey. They got to come through us to get there,
That's right. Well, like you're from Newark and I'm from Orange, so we're
right?
nonpartisan town. So, but we do have partisan, but we're still partisan. And what you said, I want you to go look up next time you come on. We're gonna talk about Kyron Hunter and the party of Lincoln and what she
Okay,
said about that. We're gonna talk about that. Do some research about that. That was you was playing chess like that. You went to the unoccupied side. That's what's up. I
yes,
like
ma'am.
Shadi,
that.
Shadi, I want you to know, if you don't know who the great Donna K. Williams is, she was Donna. How many terms did you do in city council in Orange?
3 terms city council in Orange, and I ran for mayor and did not prevail against Mayor Warren.
Right. I know her face. I know her name.
Hmm.
I don't know too much of the backstory, but yes, I do know.
And you said SOS, so you know Bishop and everybody. So
That's
yeah,
right.
so but
That's right.
wow, and it's awesome that you looked at both sides of it because That was really interesting. That you flipped that. That was really good. And we should continue to do that. That if we can fill up both sides,
Yes,
and
ma'am.
that and our community can have people in both parties to look at. But
Yes, ma'am. Yep.
I'm feeling that. That's what's up. But go look up, go back and look at Karen Hunter and the party at Lincoln and how she was trying to get us to move in that in the
Okay.
same way you're talking about today.
Right. Karen Hunter.
Yes, she's a
All right.
professor at Hunter College, not the owner,
Okay.
just a professor.
Okay. All right. I got. I'm gonna do my homework.
Now let's just jump ahead. Now y'all just had an anniversary.
Hmm.
What anniversary was it? Tell everybody about your anniversary, and then let's talk about your initiatives and your priorities get as we take a deep dive into this crazy year that's 2025.
Yeah, so we had the anniversary this every year since we've been home. We always try to celebrate. Every year we make it through the struggle, man, of doing this work. So this was our 6 year anniversary right here that we just had, and we celebrated. We had did a nightlife party for like the culture, for a lot of people who we be servicing in the culture. To tap in with them, to let them see we celebrate 6 years of peace and prosperity for a lot of
Beautiful.
ones that have been supportive of us. And we did a banquet dinner for the first time, fundraising event to try to raise some funds for our school to change that we trying to start with our alternative school. We trying to open up a facility for at-risk youth who get kicked out of high school. We want to try to get them in, an alternative school somewhere close in Newark where they ain't got to go all up the road, and then be able to
Hmm.
have some good people in place in there to, get them the services they need to help them get their education and get back on track of getting, a good education. And we had a nice turnout for that for our fundraising. The mayor pulled up, a lot of people, who've been doing the work out here. A couple people from New York, Mike signing them with the Boycott Black Murder and Jamila Davis, who've been working
Hmm.
too with the Love Me More and the and the Black Girls Magic. I think they got an organization where they deal with a lot of young black girls, and they come up here. They be helping us out a lot too, sponsoring a few of our events throughout our journey. So they came to our event too, and it was a nice, good networking event to see good people coming out supporting us, and our culture to see that too. For them to see that it's another side, to life, and there's a good side, and they see us winning on it, and people supporting that. It was definitely a good thing for us to have and to do for the culture.
Y'all should know that my son has been on this show frequently. My son and Jamila are both in Until Freedom,
Until
a
freedom.
Right.
new
That's right.
organization. And Tamika Mallory used to be on the show. Tamika Mallory was
Hmm.
a fixture on our second Fridays for quite a while. And then she just, of course, just dropped her new book and just had a book party in town. Just
Speaking all over, right?
Mm-hmm.
yes. So
But isn't it coming up on 6 years where persons that are on parole or probation could register to vote and vote now? I think we're coming up on 6 years as well as you speak about that. That
Mhm.
should be about 6 years now as well.
not quite six. Remember, Donna? Wait, let's go back.
That's why I
Close
said
to
coming up on six.
closer to five because that dropped right before COVID. Remember?
2020, right? Coming up on 5. Okay,
Okay.
Yeah,
yeah.
that dropped right before COVID. And
Hmm.
the hand that you had with that and the cultivation of the group that became the returning citizens
Right,
support group. Another
Okay.
right.
voice in our ecosystem for the old heads coming
And And I
right?
remember we were even down in Philly doing it before we were even here in Jersey doing it
Right.
because they vote for their public defenders there, and just to know the amount of votes that it brought into the New Jersey system. It was over I think about I don't even remember the amount of votes because I know. Do you know New Direction?
No, I don't know.
Oh, okay, okay. But
Uh.
it brought a substantial amount of votes, and then and make sure as you go out and educate that you remind that's new legislation, very new legislation that prior to 5 years ago, if you were on parole or probation in the state of New Jersey, you couldn't vote until you were
Right.
completely finished with the system. And I
Right.
know when they first put the bill out, they even tried to get it behind the wall because in Maine and Vermont you can vote behind the wall in Maine
Right,
and Vermont. And
Right.
so don't think it's something foreign. Right up 95 people in Maine, they take the polls right into Maine and Vermont, and they never stop voting, whether they outside or they in prison or outside of prison. They never lose their voting rights in Maine and Vermont. So I know when they first brought the bill up, they tried to get it behind the wall. It didn't work in New Jersey, so they did get parole. Those that are on parole and probation can now vote. So let's make sure in all your education pieces, always take a voter registration because that's new legislation.
Right. Right.
and that's a place for power. We ain't
That's
just
right.
Right.
organizing for justice. We organizing and we fighting for power. All right.
Right.
Yeah. So now let's talk about and touch you alluded you touched on it just briefly. But let's take a deeper dive into what's happening right now. What you're actually focusing right now in your new programs as we go into the new year.
Yeah, so now about two with eight, like we know we did enough peace, like we pushing peace, you know what I mean, which we try to calm down the gang culture from violence. We pushed a lot of peace, so they kind of understand where we at, you know what I mean. With that, we always gonna have to continue to push peace, you know what I mean. But
Hmm.
we want to start trying to push more leadership and try to raise more, awareness to the gap that's out here with a lot of these young people. We need more, people to step up and bridge the gap with the young generation because they getting left behind, and they the ones that's kind of growing into becoming those problems because they still immature. And look, a lot of us that did time, went to jail. We are mature. We ain't gonna do a lot of stupid stuff no more. But some young kids still susceptible to do things like that if they don't got the proper guidance and leadership
Hmm.
on them. And then they don't know what they coming together for. Like we trying to get them to get out of that gang op mindset and get more into we all together revolutionary mindset to kind of like uplift our people and let the youth know how important they are to the future of our people. Because if the youth doesn't make it, then our people gonna be is over with. We're gonna get old and die off. Eventually all of us. So, what I mean, if our youth ain't right, the race is over. So we want them to understand.
Heartbeat of the definition of genocide
Right,
is conditions calculated to bring about the destruction of a
exactly.
group in whole or in part.
And that will come true.
And
Exactly. And that will
that's
come. So we
we
have
are
to
survivors of genocide.
right.
Right.
Right? We need to
Exactly.
understand how much of a serious operative that needs
Real.
to be in our lives, in our culture, in our consciousness. Straight ahead,
Hmm.
straight
So
ahead.
we
So
gonna
now,
And just at eighth grade, just you went straight on and use your words. We have seen. We talked about a pre Super Bowl, but how we were talking about the Super Bowl for a whole year because we were talking about Kendrick and Drake. Use your
Right.
words. You can disagree and agree not to agree, but use your words. Just is that to me was too that went on for a whole year just going back and forth using your words
right.
and I know you talk for a straight 5 minutes eighth grade. I mean, but it's amazing when you start thinking about as you start reading and you become more knowledgeable, you have a lot to say and you've seen a lot, so use those words.
Yes, ma'am, and that's exactly what we intend. That's exactly what we intend to do, because, like you said, that's something that we incorporate to everything that we do. Having the right to vote and exercising our right to vote, and I think that's one of the biggest thing that New Direction brought into the ecosystem and to everything as a whole, because they didn't bank on guys like us walking in with this mind frame, because it was guys it's been guys who've been making decisions for what I mean, guys like us for the longest, and they've been capitalizing off of it. They've been selling us up the river. And I think that although New Direction, we created the 501c3, but I believe what I mean, that I'm not going to say, I'm not going to call it a mistake, but I believe that one of the most powerful things that you can do inside this nonprofit system is create a 501c4. Because when you have a 501c4, what I mean, you can legally lobby and put money behind political figures.
Mhm.
And I think that's one of the biggest things that we
Always
missing because we focus so much on getting people to go out and vote, but we don't focus enough on pulling our resources and putting finances behind the guys that's running, right? Because like I tell anybody, Nook, the city of Nook is made up of 5 different wards, but you would think 2 of them wards had a whole different mayor because how they police and govern, right?
Mhm.
You could double park. Everybody know you could double park all day in the Ironbound and North Ward, right? And that's where
absolutely.
that's where the whole our people, what I mean, the black community makes up the West Ward, Central Ward, and South Ward, right? But they chase petty crimes in those 3 wards, parking and
Mhm.
ticketing, loitering, but they don't govern the other 2 wards by them same principles. And that's because they put up
If
money
I want to shoot
behind
down
they
a chateau of Spain, I could just double park, go get my food,
you ain't gotta
eat,
think
and
twice. You don't gotta think
same.
twice.
That's
Right?
right.
But that's not by mistake because, like I said, this the same exact city, but they don't
Mhm.
harass they don't harass some residents down there for petty money because them residents they put up money behind their local politicians, and the biggest mistake that we can make is to just sit here and just focus on votes. And that's one of the biggest disdains that I have with 501c3s versus
Mhm.
501c4s. Because like Ted just talked about, we just did our first fundraiser, but this our 6th year. But for some reason, raising money feel too much like begging to people like us, right?
Mhm.
And then when we do get large sums of money, right? We all know that they are reimbursement grants, right? So you win a
Mhm.
$1 million lottery ticket, but you got to spend $1 million to get the money back, right? And then they put all type they move the goalposts on you, right?
Mhm.
And they bank on us they bank on us just tiring ourselves out rather than us, what I mean, being proactive and learning how to raise our own funds and not just be out here and asking for money. Um, yeah, I'm gonna leave it at that though, so I don't take
Yeah,
up too
Well,
much
you're
more
right.
time.
It's the same.
point.
Everybody is not to be a candidate. Somebody has to be behind a candidate, giving them the money to run the campaign. We
Right,
have there's a lot to do in the background of a campaign. So you're right, and a big part of it is the money.
right.
The second thing, though, is that we're also talking about the respect for the work, the institutional respect for the work,
That's
and the
right.
Mhm.
sustainability for the work, right?
That's right.
And I want y'all to pay attention to something I'm getting ready to say because I'm going to have a hand in trying to shape a local strategy to where
Mhm.
we actually get to the degree we're in a hostile national political climate. It means that
Mhm.
some resources that we were able to rely on from federal space is going to be gone. You need to just get
Right,
ready for that. However, by virtue of the work that we have done and documented,
right,
right, we should be at a space where
right,
our community leadership, right, our elected leadership, not just the mayor, but
right.
I'm talking about the city council in its entirety, should be at a point where we're ready to make this work a line item.
That's
And
all I'm in it for.
right,
And then don't forget, he just
also,
said the district leader too. Don't forget the district leader.
yeah, but that's going to require, our Brick City Peace Collective is our umbrella,
Hmm.
right?
Mhm.
Those organizations that have been gotten resources are trying to figure that out, doing this where we really have to bring those voices together and be a united voice to stand up for the work locally on the city front, on the statewide. We don't know who the next governor is going to be. We know who we want
Right,
unapologetically, but
right,
in case
Mhm.
we don't, we got a whole lot of heads we got to turn around down in Trenton all over again to get some of that money. So just
right,
get ready for the need for us to engage to uplift the work, defend the work, and advocate for the work to
right,
create the whole that's definitely gonna come,
right,
from the by virtue of the feds being run by this lunatic that
right.
all the white folks love to have, who's making all this mess for a whole lot of us. Right? We're getting ready to wrap up.
Hmm.
What are the takeaways that y'all want us to have about what you're doing right now? And then Donna's going to ask you a ritual question that's going to put a smile on your face.
Okay. So on you, Tuck. You on mute?
You hear me now?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
Yes.
you are.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, just the takeaways that we want to have is to get more awareness. What I mean, to the work that we doing. We touched on a lot of things that give people more education on the work because a lot of people don't know. You know what I mean, it's certain layers to it, and we learn it as we go along too. You know what I mean, doing the work. You know, we doing it with clean hands and pure hearts. But we know, you know, to do this work effectively, you know what I mean, that we need resources, and we definitely need people to support us. And I mean, and trust in the process of what we doing because we don't have a lot of people out here supporting us like it may look like on the surface. You know, I mean, we got a lot of people, you know, behind the surface trying to, you know, stop what we doing because we get in the way of what they supposed to be doing. So we just want people to understand who we are, you know, as a people, and we come with this work with good heart, man. We God sent, and we just need people to get behind us, support us, and just help us take care of our babies, man, because that's our main goals: the babies, the school safe.
How can we contact you?
Or you contact us on Instagram, you contact
Mm-hmm.
Facebook. We working on a website now. We having some little difficulties getting that up and running, but we're gonna get that up and running real soon. And we could come. You come by the hub Monday through Fridays. We always working out of there after school
Mm-hmm.
on
Right,
135
right,
Penn Street. There's another,
right.
arts and trauma center for the youth that we utilize space out of. And we down there all the time from Monday to Friday, 4 to 8. You can come in there and check us out in there. And
I
we
want to
gonna
say this too before y'all do go, and I didn't get a chance to get into it. There's a very important relationship that's always the most difficult in the advent of trying to do this work, and that is us trying to deal with the police.
right,
Respect the work, and then
right,
get out of our way when we're trying to do the work. And both of you
Right.
that came under police fire within
right,
the last year,
right,
and both of you handled yourself with great dignity in the face of that, right?
right,
So I just wanted to lift you both up on that. I turned the volume up when it went down. I grabbed somebody from the Justice Department. Literally, I was
Right.
in California when I got the word about Shadi getting messed up. I said, no, hell no. Y'all gonna talk to your boys.
right,
Right.
Right? Y'all know
Right.
how I get down, right? All right, but now to go ahead and answer the ritual question.
So when you guys are out here doing this work Monday through Friday from 4 to 8 and on the weekends too, because the work never stops, what hip hop artist, individual, or group do you listen to that inspires you and keeps you going?
hmm
That's an easy question. I mean, for myself, man, it's Tupac,
Mm-hmm.
it's Lil Durk,
Mm-hmm.
um, and it's my brother Albie Al, man.
I'll be out. Okay.
All right.
New direction.
I go with like Nipsey Hussle, and definitely be tapped in my boy
One
Nip,
list. Mm-hmm.
and Tupac, of course. Tupac definitely the foundation, man, of everything we come from. And there's one more conscious rapper that I like, man. Can't come to my name right now.
Meek Mills, man.
Meek Mill, we got Meek Mills, man.
Out of
Meek
Philly.
Mill,
Good
Philly,
day.
representing that Philly sound.
Word
Okay.
up, Meek Mills. They be conscious, man. They be speaking to the trenches, man.
All
Waking
right.
Mhm.
us.
Yes,
All right.
sir. Okay. All right. All right. Well,
And then
Thank you.
go
you
ahead.
asked that question to two brothers who ride around with each other all day every day.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
All right.
Right.
We know
Well, I'm
each other's
surprised
songs off the back of the head. What?
nobody said Kendrick or Drake.
Yeah.
Oh, nah. They ain't our style.
And
That's
I,
not your style. Okay.
Nah.
Neither one of them.
Nah.
Okay,
I
that's okay.
support it. I support the argument. You know what I mean? I
Hmm.
understand what it is. You know what I mean? It's culture versus popularity.
Hmm.
Yeah, but you know what I mean, I'll leave that conversation reserved for y'all
For
though,
next
man.
time. Okay. All right. Well, you can come back and we can talk about culture versus we can talk about that next time. And we can
Yes,
make sure
man.
we have Rhino on and Hakeem on
Yeah.
and they can make sure they have that conversation with you.
Right,
Okay.
right.
Hell
Yes,
yeah.
ma'am.
Oh, hell
And
yeah.
don't wait to be asked to come on. If there's something that you
Okay.
need us to know about, pick up the phone and say we need some space. We need to talk about what's going on, or we need, a half an
Okay.
hour to get on. So don't wait for us to call you. You can call us as well.
That's right.
Okay.
That's right.
Understood.
Okay. All right.
Mhm. All right.
All
Good
right.
segment, y'all. Good segment.
Right. I thank
Appreciate
y'all,
Okay.
man.
Thank you.
the streets.
safety.
And you don't stop. Good segment. Good segment. Good segment. Proud of these young men. Right. Really been doing the work and really
Melina said, "Do we need video?"
right at the edge. Yes. Um, I know, and I know Sabrina's she's trying to figure out how to call in, and it's not a
So
call.
not necessarily. I mean, if it's easier for you not to use the that's up to you, Melina. Is that Melina? I guess coming on.
No, didn't
Oh,
go out all the way
oh,
yet.
okay.
I was just texting Sabrina Foster. I don't know if she understands that the link is virtual, or she could just use her computer. So I was just texting her so she can come
Okay.
in. But I'm glad you actually got on because you did a whole analysis of all the Super Bowl questions and whatnot. I haven't watched a football game since this kid. Y'all see my wearing my 7, right? Since this,
Colin Kaepernick.
since this kid took that knee on my
Hmm.
birthday years ago. I ain't watched a football game since. So I have no analysis.
Well, I know.
At the end of the show,
I
you definitely got to lift that up.
well, Jalen hurt. It was neither both teams. This was a good football year. You have a lot of. We were talking about it. With the players that were on, a lot of young and quarterbacks on out there doing their things. I know I was just looking at the sportsmanship that they were showing. I know one of the best games I watched was the Falcons versus Washington, two new young quarterbacks, and even Philly. Just all of these very a lot of new young quarterbacks coming out just doing the work. This was a great football season, and I was very shocked because I either Kansas City was just tired from having a great year. Then when they got to the Super Bowl, they just didn't have any game. I don't know. It was just like I was very shocked because when they played 2 years ago, it was a very close game. This game was like, ooh. Hi, Melina. We see
Hi.
that you're here. You don't have to have your video if you don't if it's easier for you not to have your video, you don't have to have your video.
I wanted to see her. I want
Okay, well,
everybody to
If
see
if I don't have to have video, then I'm here. If I have to have video, then I got to switch to my computer.
no, you're
So,
fine. No,
okay. Great.
okay, you're
Great.
fine.
Great. 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 Great.
I ain't just giving you a hard way to go.
Hey, salam alaikum, brother Zaid.
Alaikum salam, dear Queen. I did absolutely
Mhm.
did want to see you because I want everybody to see you.
Oh no, you don't want anybody to see me right now.
Not right.
Oh, this is
Remember,
bad. Yeah.
back in the day, the Jetsons. She just threw her face on.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I would have to
We,
do something because
mm,
I look like I'm doing what I'm doing, which
You
is,
look like a new
home
queen.
with
yeah.
my goddaughter looking a mess.
Yeah. Thank God
Hmm.
for avatars. Yeah, we're living in the Jetson age right now.
Right, right.
There's Sabrina in the background. I'm trying to get. I don't see her.
I sent her, she asked me for the link, so I just texted it to her.
Yeah, I
Okay.
sent it to her too. I think she got a little confused because she sent me a text about a calling number. She didn't have to do that. All she got to do is just click in
Click on
and
the
get.
blue.
Mhm.
Right, right.
So you want to
How
start
are
with Melina?
you? How are you doing? Take a beat. Take a breath. While she's
Mhm.
trying to get on, just take a breath and tell us how you are doing, right? And you've got your hands on a number of things. We're going to spotlight Glenn's case, of course, in this segment for the most part, but you have your hands on so many fronts. Uh,
This is Sabrina.
she's trying to chime
Here
in
she
now.
go. Mhm.
Trying to chime in now. We get that little circle going around the
And
top.
there's Glenn Sr.
Yeah. Oh,
Mm,
So
good.
now we can
Okay.
celebrate
yeah.
Valentine's Day.
Mm,
There's some black love sitting right
yeah.
there.
Black love. Where's
Uh,
Sabrina run off to? She ran around the chair.
He had to go and put the dogs up. Good
Oh,
evening,
mhm.
everyone.
she went to good evening. She went to put the babies up. Okay.
Well,
Happy Love Day.
Mr. Fall
Absolutely.
says she's waiting on your missus.
Yes,
I'm gonna
sir.
let, I'm gonna let my young queen, and I'm calling it that because I'm older than she is. Um, it was Melina that brought to my attention the ordeal of what happened to your son, And not only was I outraged, but I was outraged that for all that I do in this work, and we both are up to our nostrils in raising hell around police brutality, right? She's on the West Coast. I'm in Jersey and New York on the East Coast. And we all have these national connections, of folks doing this work all over the country. I was just as angry that I didn't know anything about Glenn. And I didn't know about what happened to him. And I didn't. And as she unpacked the story, I said, "How is it that this should be on blast like any of the other, better known cases? Because on its face, right?
Yeah.
Very good to see you, my queen. Right?
Thank you.
Hello.
Good day to
Trying
everyone.
to do with an introduction and shout out Melina because Melina, brought us the horrible story about what happened to Glenn.
Thank
Right?
you.
Mm.
Introduce
Thank you,
yourself.
Dr. Melina.
Right? So, but on this day dedicated to Black love, right?
Mhm.
Let's start. I salute the two of you together. Our generation hasn't been very good on that front.
Mhm.
I'm probably exhibit A on that.
I'm a WNJR generation, so I don't know.
It was not good on getting together and staying together, right? But I salute the two of you. Salute the two of your resilience and your courage as you raise your voice for your young man. And let's start off by talking about just who this incredible young man was, right? And why he means so much to you, and why we got to get some justice for him.
Well, I can just tell a story about a young guy, a young man who was nurtured like none other. He was very special to me, especially because he was my first son, my first love, being a mother with aspirations to raise a child, and knowing that I wanted him to be different after working in the corporate world and not having the best education compared to our white counterparts. I knew that I had the opportunity, my husband and I were both working class individuals, that we had the opportunity to make sure that our kids had good home training, grew up to be productive citizens, and to be smart, trustworthy. And Glenn was just that. Glenn was a guy who, in his adult life, he was yes, sir, and yes, ma'am, with a smile on his, you know, yes, sir, And he grew up, smart guy, had the best of friends. The teachers always were very admirable of Glenn's behavior, the things that he wanted to accomplish, he did. He never wanted to play sports, but he was good at it.
That's an incredible story. I can keep talking. I hope y'all want to hear that.
Glenn could
Hear you.
challenge anyone and anything. He was the best at it. He was the best dancer. He was a good basketball player. He turned out, don't know how, to play professional football. He was anything he put his mind to doing. I just gave up at one point and saying, okay, Glenn, okay, Glenn, okay, Glenn, because Mom, I'm going to do it. Okay, Glenn. At one point, I would say, Glenn, don't. No, Mom, I'm going to do it. Okay, Glenn. And he would do it. So it was just awesome to see this guy to just blossom. To just, I mean, he was just the it person, and people would walk past Glenn and look back as they're walking past, like, who was that? Who was that guy? He just had that air about himself. And to me now, I can say that was a glow from God, because he was just so phenomenal. Glenn told me that he was going to, or told a friend, a family friend, he said goodbye to Glenn. Glenn was like a junior in high school, going into his senior year. And he said, okay, nice meeting you, cousin. And Glenn turned around and said, hope to see you again. He said, you're going to see me on ESPN. And I just kind of rolled my eyes like, stop it, you know. And sure enough, Glenn was on ESPN. He played for a Big Ten college at the University of Illinois. We don't know how the heck he did that, but Glenn did so good during his pro day. They called him at the last, after his high school, during his last season of high school. They called him. Normally, kids are called before they finish their high school season, and Glenn was like one of the last ones to get all these Big Ten offers. So sure enough, when he told his cousin, "You're going to see me on ESPN," he didn't have any high schools after him at the time.
Colleges. Yeah.
I mean colleges, yes. And sure enough, the following year, he was on ESPN playing for the University of Illinois. Okay, and he also did the same thing and said, "Mom," because all of his friends were being drafted by the NFL, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm going to do it. I'm going to be drafted too, Mom." I'm like, "But Glenn, they're not even looking at you." So Glenn worked for the NFL. He played for the New Orleans Saints as a drafted rookie, and there he was. So anything he put his mind to doing, again, it worked out for him. During his second season playing football, he got injured. And then during his tryout, he tried out for the Chiefs. And then he went to the Seahawks and they wanted him. And Glenn came home and said, "I need to make a decision, Mom, but I want to be able to play with my kids." And this was 2015. He started with the Saints in 2013, and this is 2015. He says, "I want to play with my kids." At this time, Glenn was married with 2 kids. When he was murdered, he had 4. And so I said, "Well, Glenn, you don't have to play football. Some people need to play football and make their money. That's okay." I said, "But you're smart. You have a background managing my property with us," when he was available. And so he decided to branch out and start his own businesses, which he did. And he was very successful at it. The last business Glenn had, he started a granite company where he was fabricating and installing granite. He opened up a big business in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. He also had a boutique location here at 2105 Magazine Street in New Orleans. He and his wife, my husband, my daughter-in-law, my daughter and my daughter-in-law. And he opened up a coffee business, a coffee shop called Mr. Wolf's Espresso and Books Cafe here in New Orleans at 900 Camp Street. It's at the Contemporary Arts Building. And
Near the World War II Museum.
if you're familiar with New Orleans, yes. And so he's always trying to branch out with business endeavors. So this particular day, December 3rd, 2021, he says, "Mom, I'm going to Atlanta. Can you help Pramela with the kids?" Which I'm always the backup person, gladly. And so I said, "Sure." I said, "I'll take care of the kids." This is when he traveled to Atlanta, but he was driving through Alabama. And at this point, he was pulled over. And he was pulled over just as Tariq Hill from the Miami Dolphins was pulled over in September 2024.
When that got a lot of media too, by the way.
Got a lot of media because it was on video and it was during the daytime. And his fans driving past, they were witnesses.
And his teammates.
Right? Glenn's incident happened at 11:30 p.m. on a dark road in Carrollton/Reform, Alabama, which is in Pickens County, Alabama, a sundown town.
Now stop right there. Because a lot of folks younger than us have no idea what a sundown town is.
Yes.
They need to know.
Yes.
Right? In fact, I have an elder comrade who's 96, 97 years old, who just dropped a book about a battle against a sundown town in North Carolina, right? Enfield, North Carolina. Great, an elder named Willa Cofield, who we'll have on at some point to lift up her great story.
Yes, yes.
Tell folks what a sundown town is.
Well, I'm like most people. I didn't know what a sun was. You know?
Just wait a minute. I mean, that's really that's a detail about this story that really needs to be appreciated because they should be a thing of the past.
It should be. But before I describe what the sundown town is, when we went to Bell Glen out, we were sitting down at the courthouse, remember? And they had those binders still out that says white, marriage license, and colored.
Absolutely. In the courthouse.
Wow.
Okay, white, and these are binders, and my husband pointed it out to me, and I started taking pictures of them because it was unbelievable that they would still have these binders.
2021.
2021.
So a sundown town is, if you're black, you better not be in town when the sun goes down.
When the sun goes down.
You better be inside, not outside.
Exactly. Now, because there are blacks still living in that town, we don't know how bad the sundown town is at this time there, right? But I know that the sun was down on my son. Okay. And we have no video of what happened. We have no video of what happened when my son was in jail. So I don't want to put the
We
cards.
also don't have any video on what occurred in the vehicle while he was being transported from the jail to the medical facility either.
Exactly. Yeah. So I want to say this here. They've already said their narrative about Glenn, about how they had to chase him and that they threw down the tax. What do you call those?
Speed strips.
Yeah, the speed. Okay.
Throw them on the road to dismantle the tires to blow them out.
Yes.
So now let me ask you this. And then his car was also towed to, let me see
sheriff.
Here. The sheriff on the tire company.
Yeah.
Okay. So his truck was towed to the sheriff tire company.
Tire shop.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now, is it normal for these cars to already have these strips in their cars when they want to pursue a chase? Or is it something that they actually, to me, they probably provoked the chase? They probably called Glenn a nigger or do the things that they do to excite a person, to provoke them. Because I know my son. My son wanted to make it back home to his family.
To his babies.
Yes. He wanted to make it back home. So I know my son. If anything, he probably wanted to get into a well-lit area because it's a dark road.
Well, the country dark roads could be a trip.
With trees on the side, yes. So they said that they had to chase him and they detained him and they put him in jail. They said that he needed some evaluation. 3 days later, as they were taking him to be evaluated, they claimed that Glenn was found unresponsive in the back of their SUV.
I want to intervene. There were multiple.
Please, Dad. You've been quiet. Definitely want to hear your
There
voice.
were multiple times in which medical staff indicated that Glenn needed medical attention. However, the sheriff's office decided that they knew better than the medical professionals and denied my son medical treatment on multiple occasions. Multiple occasions. So not only did they take his life based upon what our pathologists Dr. Bodden, who was hired by Attorney Ben Crump, determined, but there have been multiple reports from the ALEA, which stands for Alabama Law Enforcement Agency, which is an investigative body for the state of Alabama. There were multiple occasions before my son lost his life that they could have and should have done the right thing and gave him the medical treatment or taken him to a facility to get whatever evaluation that needed to be done for his health. However, they decided to deny my son his treatment.
And during that time, Glenn was being teased.
Tased.
I'm sorry. Tased.
We got you.
Being tased. He was being strangled and tortured. And they continued to do that during his ordeal while he was in jail.
Over a period of time.
Over those 3 days. But this is what bothers me. Not only did EMT not be able to service him, the coroner lied, the district attorney lied, ALEA, which is the State Bureau of Investigation, like my husband said, they're called ALEA, but they're called
Alabama Law Enforcement.
but they're called what's that? SBI, the Alabama State Bureau of Investigation
Right.
too. They all said Glenn died from natural causes. They said he died of cardiovascular disease. 31 years of age. Well fit. A former NFL player.
He's working out on a regular basis.
He was 200 and maybe 45 pounds.
Very much an athlete. Very much an athlete.
Yes.
I have an elder comrade in the Black Panther Party, Mumia Abu Jamal, out of Philadelphia. He was a world-renowned journalist who was framed for killing a police officer. Mumia is one of many who amplifies. They're not just obsessed with us because of our blackness. They're obsessed with us also because of our physicality. There's something in the psychosis of white racism that makes them envy of our physicality. We got something they ain't got in their warped minds.
Yeah.
So when they have an opportunity to really do to our bodies and get away with what they do to our bodies, deeply rooted in that abuse in the domestic slave trade, they do it. And this is why this fight for accountability.
Or when they were doing procedures on women and not giving us medication because they thought we were so much stronger and we didn't need medication.
Oh yes, gynecology fountain. Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Melina, let me bring you into the conversation because you are the bridge to all of us in this. And you're also a veteran of struggle that I'm sure this family appreciates, right? How did you come across this story? And you're all in. Where do we see the work going now?
Yes, well, thank you. And I'm always really appreciative of Brother Glenn and Sister Sabrina for sharing. I feel very fortunate to learn about Glenn, and every now and then Sister Sabrina will send me videos of Glenn and how vibrant and full of life he was. And I got to spend time on Sunday with his children, who are just the most beautiful girls, the most just incredible girls. All of them are great, but the one who stood out was Malia, right? Malia was
charming.
You said she is the spitting image of her father too. She has all the charisma in the world and is just phenomenal. All four of them are phenomenal. The entire family is phenomenal, but I feel extremely fortunate to learn more and become closer and get to know this family. And Glenn Sr. and Sister Sabrina are just tremendous models as the keepers of this family, as the foundation of this family. I got to know Sister Sabrina, I guess it's been about a year, Sister Sabrina, maybe a little longer. Because one of the things that I know that you probably experience as well, Brother Zaid, is that it's just incredible to me how the families of those who've been stolen by police and white supremacist violence stand with each other. And Sister Deanna, my cousin Deanna Joseph, calls it turning your pain into purpose. And so I first met Sister Sabrina, I believe it was in Gulfport when we first met. It was Gulfport, not Alabama, right? I believe it was
Yes, it was
Gulfport.
Gulfport. It's been so many places, especially in Monroe,
Right,
Louisiana as well.
right. I think our
Monroe,
first
Louisiana?
meeting,
Wow.
Gulfport,
What's
Mississippi.
that? What is
Yes, Gulfport.
Gulfport,
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Mississippi. She was supporting families and organizing happening there. We were organizing for a young brother who was 15 years old when he was killed by police there, Brother Jaheen.
Mhm.
And she was there with other movement mothers, and we got to know each other there. And then since then have been in Alabama together, have been in Monroe, Louisiana for Ronald Green together. And ultimately, Glenn Sr. and Sister Sabrina formed Black Lives Matter Grassroots New Orleans chapter in honor of Glenn Foster Jr. So she's now, they're my comrades and adopted aunties to my children, because my middle child goes to
right?
Southern,
He's
but
out
would
there
like
now.
to
He's
be
out
at
there now.
Xavier, likes to be in New Orleans. And
Mm-hmm.
Sister Sabrina and Brother Glenn live in New Orleans. So
She has her own bed. I'm like, you have a bedroom whenever you're in town.
that's right. That's right. And so I feel very fortunate to be in community with them, and to be able to organize alongside them, and do whatever we can. Black Lives Matter Grassroots, which is our organizing home, all of our organizing home, is committed to lifting up Glenn Foster Jr. and demanding justice in his name, making sure that doing whatever we can to expose these sundown towns, the way the criminal system of injustice doubles down on itself and protects itself. And we're saying, no, we're not going to allow this to be buried. We're going to lift up Glenn Foster Jr. And most recently, we did that on Super Bowl Sunday. And we're grateful for you, Brother Zaid, for also lifting up his story and lifting up his name on Super Bowl Sunday, along with lots of other influencers as well. So we want to make sure that we know that
I
we're
wanted to get down
gaining
there.
traction.
I went a little early. I just got down there.
Mm-hmm.
Thank
And I
you.
got people
Thank you.
down there. Oh
Look,
yeah.
we got another chance because the civil case
Wait,
is
did we
moving
just lose the
forward.
Fosters? Did we just lose the Fosters?
Yeah. Keep talking, Melina.
Okay.
Yeah,
The civil
I'll be
case
here.
is moving forward. So soon we'll be in Alabama, in court in Alabama. And as you know, Brother Zaid, one of the things that happens often is we don't get criminal charges, but the closest thing we get to justice is civil lawsuits and civil wins. And so we're looking to that. A judge in December just ruled that the civil case will move forward despite, police's claims of qualified immunity. We're going to move forward with the civil case. Ben Crump is the lead attorney in that case.
And what county in Alabama is that?
Pickens.
It's Pickens County, Alabama.
Pickens County. Okay.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because it's interesting. I know I was an avid attendee of Essence Fest, and one year I stayed down on Magazine Street and just hearing Mother Foster just talking about that area down there and the different areas in New Orleans and everything. Ooh. Mm.
Yeah.
And I know I think it was HBO did like a sci-fi about sundown towns around 2020, 2021.
Really?
Yeah, I'll find it and I'll send it out. But they did, it was like a black sci-fi about sundown towns, and how they told the story. It was really, really interesting and just highlighting what a sundown town was. Yeah.
Well, sundown towns continue to be places of terror for Black people, from Glenn Foster Jr. to my own family. My family is from Beaumont, Texas, and to
Yeah.
drive from New Orleans or from Baton Rouge, where my child is, to Beaumont, you have to drive through Vidor, Texas, which
Mm,
is a sundown town. And I'm not young, but I'm not that old, right?
mhm,
And even as a child in the 90s, we would have to drive through Vidor, and there were signs on the side of the road that said, "Welcome to Vidor, don't let the sun set on your Black ass."
ooh. Mm,
And
mm, mm.
still, like, if you look up, there's a new Google app, um,
Mhm.
Green Book app. It still
Yeah.
has Vidor as one of the places that they actually advise people in cars, Black people in
Yeah.
cars, to drive around Vidor. Do not drive down the 10 through Vidor. We just don't stop.
Yeah.
We go
Round
fast
two.
through Vidor.
Route
Yeah.
10. Yeah,
I'm
something
afraid
just
to
happened
go
that caused them to
there.
reprint green books over. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Saeed.
Yeah, I won't go back up a little further because this is a teaching platform. A lot of young heads on here that don't know what the Green Book is.
Mhm.
Let's take a minute and tell folks what the Green Book is and why do we need a Green Book in 2021, 2025?
Right. So the Green Book, especially in the early 20th century, early to mid 20th century, was actually a printed book, a printed guide that told Black people, the areas that were green, that were safe for us to go, safe for us to stop, um, and guarded against sundown towns. So it was, what hotels can you stop at under segregation? Where will they accept Black folks at a lunch counter, right? These are places that you can stop. And so that's what a green book is. So for there to be a new Google version of a green book is reminding us that, these forms of racial terror, while they may have evolved, they are not gone. There are still
Right.
places that you cannot stop. There are still places where, I was talking about it when we got to Beaumont, because we did that drive from Baton Rouge to Beaumont because my child's a freshman at Southern. And
Mhm.
so,
Mhm.
for Thanksgiving, when we got to my family's house, they were, one, we know, do not drive at night. We don't drive at night down the 10 because there's multiple sundown towns, the most infamous being Vidor, but not the only. But, also we have to remember these are still active plan, um, communities where if you stop in Vidor, you might see, and you will see off the side of the freeway, food places. It is not safe for you to stop. And so we have to remember that. And we also have to remember they're in places that you might not think. So Pickens County, Alabama sounds like a place you should skip, right? Vidor, Texas sounds
Yeah.
like a place you should skip. But also are places like Torrance, California, which have been traditionally sundown towns and have really high numbers of white supremacists and police killings, in those areas. And so, yeah,
Melina,
long
you know
answer to
what?
your question.
It's just I just went back and watched NWA Straight Outta Compton again, but for a different reason. And the first scene they had with the police was Torrance, California.
Mm,
When
that's
they were
right.
at the studio that was in Torrance, California.
That it
Mhm.
sure was. Sure was.
Mhm.
Baba Akili, who's one of our Babas, he calls it Torrance, Mississippi, because that's what it feels like, even though it's just south of Los Angeles.
Mm.
Hey, I can't. Fitz, I don't know if you can see um, the forces in the background. We're trying to put them back on.
No, um I can't see. As our tech person, do we have anybody in the background or forces
Fitz,
trying to get back?
yeah, Fitz should be on. She should be doing that. but no, as you were saying, I just wanted to alert them.
And now what was the book you showed? That was by what was the book you showed, Zaid?
No, I didn't show a book. I just put in the chat
No, you
the
did show a book when we first started, the red
oh
book. You
that's the book on Enfield, North Carolina that
uh-huh.
centers around Willa Cofield, who you know, Donna, right?
Okay, Willa Cofer. Okay, yeah. Okay. That's what I
Uh,
thought, yeah.
and there's going to be a book signing for this in next week about the Enfield, North Carolina sundown
Hmm.
town battle, right? And they had that particular elder got out in front of that, and it triggered. It really opened up the whole range of civil rights fronts during that particular period, and brought that town into the thick of struggle as a consequence of that. So it's a great story, but that
And
sundown town is in history now. It's
yeah.
behind the fact that we're
And
talking
Melina,
about
and you were talking about
incredible.
uh, you talking about I-10, Melina. So you could be going through I-10 and you might be in one location it's okay to be in and another location you shouldn't be in. Were you saying I-10?
That's right. Well, like
Mm.
one of the things I've always said is the 10 stops at my house. I live off of Crenshaw in Los Angeles, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the furthest west you can get on the 10 is Santa Monica. So that's not too far. I mean, it's a few miles from where I am. But if I drive just east down the 10, I
Mm-hmm.
stop at my grandma's house. And if you keep going east, then you can get to Baton Rouge, Louisiana. And,
Yeah.
it goes all the way. So, not all of the
And I
10
used to
is
be
a problem.
stationed down there because I know we down in Fort Walton Beach, Pensacola area. We've driven 10 from like Pensacola all the way to Texas and just not even thinking about, or like, or just I've driven from Jersey to the Essence Fest, and you're not even thinking about, well, maybe I need to hurry up and get to New Orleans, and because you're just so comfortable driving, where you're at, and not even thinking about the different towns, because you're going straight down, main highway. Mm.
Right, right. Well, what I think a lot of us, when we think about sundown towns, we think about racial terror, we think about KKK, we think about white supremacist groups, and we sometimes
About the
exclude
police,
police from that.
and
But
that's
we
a
got to
difference.
remember that they are one and the same. That
Right.
police in Pickens County, Alabama, are active members of white supremacist groups, that police in Vidor, Texas are not going to save you from the KKK who might attack you, right? That they're members themselves oftentimes. And so it's important to remember that where Glenn Foster Jr. was killed, the sundown town is not just about white supremacist killings in the classic sense. It's about how police also function as extensions of white terrorist organizations.
Mm. I can
Indeed.
remember coming from the Essence Fest one year and it ended on the 3rd. So I was driving back up and my mother had stayed at my brother's in Alabama and we were driving up 95 and listened to what does the 4th of July mean? Listening to it while we was driving mean to the
Slavery
Negro.
4th of July.
Yeah. Mm,
Frederick
mm,
Douglass.
mm, mm. Now we lost Medina. So what we did not hear Zaid because we lost the Fosters. So we lost Glenn Jr.
Oh, here we are.
Oh, there you go.
Sorry
We
about
lost
that.
the Fosters, so we didn't get to hear. So we lost Glenn Jr. on December 3rd. You said
Actually, Glenn died 3 days later on December 6th.
December 6th.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
it started on the 3rd.
It started on the 3rd.
David Husband.
They detained him on the 3rd. We went to go visit Glenn and to pay to get him out of jail, to bond him out on December 5th.
Mm.
So we found out about him being there on the 4th,
Saturday.
which is a Saturday, via email.
They knew who Glenn was. They knew
Mm.
he was an former NFL player. They knew he
Mm-hmm.
was a businessman.
Yeah.
they contacted me through my email because, you know, my wife, myself, my daughter,
It's a
we all
family
work for the
business.
business. It's a
Yeah.
family business. So we're on the internet all the time. And that's how they contacted me, told us that Glenn was in jail. And the rest is just like a nightmare from hell.
You know why? Because with Glenn being in jail, they did not contact his wife. He did not call anyone.
Wasn't
He
giving
did
them
not
phone
call
calls.
mom. Glenn was a mama's boy.
Firstborn, yeah.
Yes, and he called his wife, but yet a bail bondsman contacted my daughter. They
And I don't know.
claim that Glenn asked for the bail bondsman to contact. Why couldn't Glenn contact someone?
Oh, they get that first phone call, and I don't know if you heard Miss Foster. I think it might have been 2018 because I went to Essence Fest every year. I think it
Yeah,
was
we heard the whole
2018.
conversation. You all just
Yeah, I
didn't see
think I
it.
stayed on Magazine Street on
Yeah.
2018.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So Tom, it's just so when you said that area, and I was like, because it's like that's an area of New Orleans, and I just love.
It's a
We
popular
was just
area.
talking about New Orleans the other day. It's like one town that you like. I want to live in. I don't know. Like I love New Orleans. Just love it.
Yeah.
I was stationed in Biloxi. Ooh,
Which is not too far.
yeah, no, it's right there. Pensacola and all of that area, going back and forth, and you driving back and like you said, the little towns. And my brother lives in Clopton, Alabama now.
Okay. So,
It's
like Dr. Melina said, we had a campaign over the weekend, and the idea was to bring awareness to more people. And since we have a lot of tourists coming from out of town to attend the Super Bowl,
Right.
we decided to have a what happened to former NFL player Glenn Foster Jr. We just want to just get people to ask that question and to wonder and to look him up, because with Glenn, his case went under the radar. You know,
Yes. Yes.
we talked about it, the news media covered it, but that was it. It's like, let's move on to the next story.
I think that because no video has been released,
Yeah.
unlike what happened to George Floyd, Rodney King, Laquan McDonald, because there's been no video footage of what happened to our son, that's why I think it just, you know, it was a story that came and went.
Yeah, we
And
didn't have
then
the
not only
excitement.
that,
Yeah.
the New Orleans Saints
Yeah, I was like,
and the NFL have done little of nothing to acknowledge Glenn Foster Jr.
Yeah.
I mean, little of nothing.
Can y'all see what I'm wearing?
yeah, you got Colin Kaepernick. Did
And
you say he got
it was
drafted by the New Orleans Saints?
Yes.
he was signed as
He
a
Wait
was
a
rookie
signed as
free
a rookie
agent.
free agent.
Free
One thing
agent.
I just
Okay.
want to say also is the NFL has what's called a social justice initiative.
Yes, they do.
Okay. And, you know, it looks good on paper, you know. However, it was no surprise to me that Roger Goodell and his minions decided to paint over the end racism in the two end zones once they found out that the current president was going to be at the Super Bowl.
How about that?
It was no surprise to me.
So yet they have a social justice initiative, but yet they want to paint over the end racism. That's an oxymoron, if I've never heard before, you know?
I'm wearing Colin Kaepernick's jersey.
Mm-hmm.
That young man took the knee on August 14th, 2016, which happened to be the anniversary of the launch of the Haitian Revolution and my birthday. I
Okay,
ain't seen a football game since, right?
good.
The NFL Players Union, majority black men,
Mm-hmm.
300-pound, muscle bound, millionaire black men, didn't say a thing about Colin and would have been powerful had they done that, and didn't say anything about your son, right? So we want to we want to, lift up some of these class issues that we got within our own community too, because we damn sure need to be doing better than that. I'm
Yes.
glad that you got a good attorney and
Mm-hmm.
you got good people like Melina close to you.
Yes.
Yeah, and one of the things that, and while Jay-Z sits at the table, one of the things he does, I think it's his own organization because he did it with the young brother that got killed in Rikers Island. He has a social justice.
And it,
Jay-Z, I don't know if it's his own or through the NFL, but I know he does a lot through his social justice thing. So, keep hitting them links and everything because I know the young brother that got killed on Rikers Island, he kind of brought that to the forefront.
okay.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
mhm. We will be looking up Glenn Foster and we will be highlighting. And if you have some video, you can send us Zaid. Maybe we can put it on our page so we can put
that's
that,
important. Let me just when y'all started talking, when Melina started talking about the video footage and all of that,
Yes.
we are humanizing your son.
Yes.
Mhm.
I
I
don't
do
think
it
it has
every
to do
day.
Yeah.
we
I
have
say
to
how you used to
we have
say,
to
say his
take
name, say his name.
control of the narrative
Yes.
about your son. It will mean a lot as this plays out in court. It means a whole lot more importantly in the land of public opinion, right? And how your family is treated, right? And respected, and how that vibrates, throughout the rest of us, right?
Yeah.
And he has four daughters, you said?
Yes.
Four daughters.
At the time of his murder, the ages were 1.5. Okay. Three. They're all 3 years apart. 3, 6, and 9. 3, 6,
Mhm.
and no, 3, 6, 10.
Mhm.
So they were 1, 4, 7, 10.
Mhm.
Now they are to be 5, 8, 11, and 14.
Wow.
Yes. His oldest will be going to high school this year.
Mhm.
And we've had some tiring and sad moments.
Daddy's girls, yes.
Daddy's the school dance, Father's Day dance, and my husband would step in. It was just so sad and very emotional to see the things that Glenn would have been pridefully doing. My husband had to stand in and do those things. It hurts. It's just heart wrenching to see these four daughters without a dad who stopped playing football just so he could play with his girls.
Mm.
That is an
And
unusual story, and that
yeah,
says
and
a lot
when
about his character and his priorities.
Yes, he said, "Mom, I want to
it made
stay home and play
choices.
with my girls." And because Glenn grew up in a happy family, he was a happy person.
Mm. Now, when you look at your husband, do you see Glenn? Do you see Glenn Jr. or do you see him in your face? Who does he look like?
I see him in my heart. I I see him every day because I'm always posting. Go on Facebook. No, I'm going to answer your question in a minute.
Hmm.
If you go on Facebook and just type in Glenn Foster Jr. I have posted
Okay.
a lot of things, a plethora of things about Glenn. And I made it where everyone can see it, not just my Facebook friends. If you go on the internet, you see all sorts of videos and Glenn talking and Glenn doing this, and you see his character. So I bring him to life every day. Every day he's on my mind. Every day I post something about Glenn. I even go on the internet myself to find things that I haven't found out about Glenn. I'm like, oh, here's a video of Glenn, and TikTok,
Mm-hmm.
same thing. So I still see the same old Glenn smiling at me and say, hey, Ma. But I don't see Glenn. I don't look for him in my husband nor myself.
Mm-hmm.
I do see him in his kids. And with his children, I would say, girl, you I just like a crazy father. And I enjoy showing them videos of their dad because they're not on Facebook. So I'm like, oh my God, I'm posting all these pictures of their dad on Facebook. And then I would say, hey, let's look at some videos of your dad. And then I would go to YouTube and there are videos of Glenn on YouTube. And so we just sit there and laugh about their crazy father. And
Well, Glenn Senior and Miss Sabrina, I'm gonna lose because I'm losing power. And
okay,
Medina just put that you want us to do one thing that the family of Glenn Foster Jr. is asking folks to call the Alabama State Attorney Andy Hamlin
I believe he's a
and
district attorney. Yes, his name is Andy
States
Hamlin.
Hamlin and demand that video evidence and medical records be released. 203-367-9915. And it's amazing how somebody might have some footage out there. You never know where footage might pop up from. So
Oh,
I'm
they have the
praying.
footage too. So we're hoping that they are going to release them if they have not destroyed them. And let's just stay prayerful that something happens where all of those who were involved, black and white, are convicted of the crime for murdering Glenn Jr.
Well, I'm gonna try to ask this question before I leave.
Okay.
Is there a hip hop artist, individual or group that when you are out there thinking of your son doing the work in his name that you listen to that helps you do the work that you need to do every day in the name of your son?
I would have to go with Kendrick Lamar. I'm gonna tell you why.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Tell me
That's all
why.
right. Hmm.
His music, his creativity, and something about his integrity. He seems to be honest. His words make so much sense to me.
Mm,
And he seems to be very challenging, defiant. And that's how Glenn was. Glenn didn't let anything stop him from moving forward. And when I saw Kendrick Lamar, I know Glenn liked him anyway, but I said,
yeah,
oh yeah, I said I wish Glenn could have seen this performance. Yes.
he did. He's not like us, huh?
Yes. And see, that's another thing. Glenn just ain't no like he was not like us. Glenn was very unique. Very unique.
And how's the girls doing? How are they doing? Like,
They're doing great. They're very
yeah.
resilient. They're very happy. They're doing good. The only one I worry about is the one who was a year and a half year old. The others, they can talk about their dad and laugh about them.
Mm-hmm.
And she sits there and she can't engage in a conversation about her dad. However, I'm introducing her to videos of she and her father together when she was a baby. I want her to see the love that he had for her.
Mm-hmm.
So she's 4 years old. She knows now what's your dad's name, Glenn Foster Jr.
That's right.
It was hard for her to conceive in her mind where her dad is. I used to ask her, where's your dad? And she saw a picture of him on this couch and she says, sleeping on the couch. So
Mm-hmm.
now she knows that her dad is not here, that he's in heaven.
Mm-hmm.
But I want her to see that he loved her too.
That's right.
And have videos of
Yes, ma'am.
that. Yes.
Yes,
Well,
ma'am.
Zaire, continue. I'm gonna switch. I'm gonna switch over.
Well,
Yeah,
it
we
was a
Okay.
pleasure
Thank
honor
you.
to have
Okay.
you. You'll hear from us whenever you want to come back. You want to lift something up, any new developments, you know, just reach out. You know how to reach me directly. Melina knows how to reach me directly. I'm trying to figure out some resources so I can do some more travel this year,
Okay.
and help you. Right? You've got good support, right?
Thank
And
you.
it means a whole lot. And it means a whole
Yes,
lot.
Dr. Molina has been very great with pioneering this event for us. She's been awesome getting the right people in place for us.
Absolutely.
I just cannot thank her enough. We have had a lot of people working with us, a lot of organizations working with us, and still willing to be with us. So we have not stopped, and we're not going to stop. We are now into the Mardi Gras season, so we can also continue to enlighten people about Glenn, making them aware about Glenn, what happened to him. We also want people to contact the New Orleans Saints and say, hey, what happened to former Saints player Glenn Foster Jr.?
I wish I had his jersey. I'm wearing caps because of this stance. I wish
Yeah,
I had. We can build a movement around it just on the gear with young people.
yes, and we can do that, because even when the Saint season starts in August, September, we can still be out there passing out flyers, showing our banner, posting up posters about Glenn. What happened to former Saints player Glenn Foster Jr.? You understand? Because there's so much that people can do to start this movement. And it doesn't have to start with us, it can start with all of us. Because what
That's
happened to Glenn, it
right.
happened to all of us.
Right.
Glenn was
Yes.
not a drug dealer. He was a fine businessman, a former Saints player. If they did that to him, then that means that they didn't do it because of his lack of, right? They did it because of his color.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. This is a black life that mattered, and we're gonna make
Absolutely.
Yes.
we'll make it matter. We're gonna
Yes.
make it matter. I salute you both for
Thank
your
you.
strength,
Thank
courage, and your dignity. This
Thank
thing
you.
breaks a lot of families, right? They messed with the wrong one when it came to y'all, and we're proud to see that.
That's
And
what
know
I
that we got your back. Okay,
thank.
you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for the opportunity to share our story
Thank
and
you.
our
absolutely,
son's story.
that's right. We say his name. Yes, we say his name.
Say his
Thank you.
name, Glenn Foster Jr. Thank you very much for the opportunity. Thank you to New Jersey and New York. We have family in both states.
Oh, great.
And if
Okay.
they hear us, I want to say hello from,
Long
I was
Island,
going to say from Chicago because we're
Brooklyn,
originally from Chicago.
Queens.
Right.
Yes. And then my cousin, Erica's brother, Alan, is in New Jersey as well.
Okay.
Yes. But we have family in Queens.
Yeah, so I spent a whole lot of time in running around in that town, doing the
Okay.
same kind of stuff. Same kind of stuff. All right, all right. Well, try to enjoy each other for the rest of your night. This is Black Love Night, and y'all demonstrate what Black love really looks like, and how
Thank you.
much we have to go through. We got to be strong for our love.
Yes. You're right about that.
So unique to our experience here in the madness of North America. We got to be strong for some of our love. We got to really hold on to each other. So I salute you on that front too.
Thank you.
Absolutely. All right.
Thank you.
Ooh,
God bless you, Saeed.
let's put and back to you, ma'am. Back to you.
Thank you. Have a
Thank
great
you.
day. Enjoy your weekend and happy Valentine's
Happy
Day.
Valentine's Day.
Thank you. Y'all made mine.
Thank you. Have a good one.
All right. All
Okay.
right. Oh, Lord have mercy. What these things do to our hearts and our minds and our souls and our bodies. You just saw an amazing couple, telling an incredible, horrific story about the loss of their son, right? And can't make this stuff up. I was in touch with Tiffany Crutcher, and somebody I'm dying to get on our airwaves too. Ed, good to see you back, right? Dr. Tiffany Crutcher, who's the twin sister of Terrence Crutcher, Tulsa, Oklahoma. Terrence was a twin brother, the heavyset brother. His hands up, don't shoot, and they just out of fear of his fullness of a black man that just shot him down anyway. That obsession with our bodies is something that we can't overlook. I put a lot of stuff on the YouTube chat. We got to figure out this thing about our space because I don't think we're live on our page, right? But we are live on YouTube, so we got to figure that out moving forward, getting ready for next week. I'm hoping we have an incredible young lady that I'm very proud of in Louisiana. I don't know
Zaire,
the background.
Zaire,
Yes.
we are live on Facebook. We're live on Facebook.
Oh, good. Oh, good. Because I wasn't able to get to it. All right.
Yeah.
Cool. Very good. We're good. We're good. I was hoping Josie Alexander would have been able to get on. Incredible young organizer. And in fact, I was hoping she would kind of got on at the end of the last segment because I wanted all of them to know each other. I don't know what happened to Josie. She probably got her hands full. But Josie is, I full disclosure, I work in my, job stuff with an entity called Equal Justice USA. Strong on the death penalty, strong on community-based violence intervention, the stuff we do in Newark around violence, strong on restorative justice. And it also has a conservative conversation strategy that really blew my mind. Josie does the coalition building work in Louisiana. And Louisiana is a big state and a small state. Big prisons where you're doing long time, big towns like New Orleans with all of its contradictory cultural history, and small towns like what we were just describing of what happened to this young man.
Yeah, we had a young brother on from Louisiana who was talking about the work he was doing down there at one point.
Yeah. So I was really hoping Josie could have gotten on. I don't think she did, and the families just sending some love in the chat. Yes. Yes. Powerful story. Powerful story. Josie, if you can hear me, come on, daughter. We want you on. Let me try and text her, and y'all keep it going while I'm trying to get this daughter
Yeah, I
on.
have to send that out. Good Lord, it was HBO or Showtime how they did that sci-fi, and it was about sundown town, and it was remember the Great Debaters, the movie, and the sister that played in the Great Debaters.
Yeah, in fact, I want to show that soon. I'm trying to develop a
Yeah,
film festival.
she played in this. About sundown towns. I can't think right now with that. Ooh.
But the range of so many active like that in this day and time is outrageous. One of the things I put in the chat, and we can talk. Josie had an issue with her daughter. She did text me, so I'm not going to be able to get her on. So we got a few minutes. We got more than a few minutes.
Okay. Well, you even. Well, we
Peace,
probably
family.
just
Peace,
need to
family.
do. Hey, we probably need to do a report on just think of everything from the beginning of the year. The sister that got shot and what's her name, Sabrina? I mean, the police brutality that we say it again.
Yeah.
Just do a check-in on all of those cases.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, her case just settled. They offered their family a serious settlement.
Oh, her case just settled. So yeah, we probably need to do a check-in on all of those cases.
You talking about Massey?
Yes.
She got. I think it was what was it? $10 million settlement.
It was significant. They wanted to get that out of the way. They knew they were wrong on all fronts. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, that was a terrible case, and they're all terrible. But that one was,
and even sustainability for Ben Crump. Ben Crump is such a time as this.
Yeah. Well, we know that. Let me just say, I'm glad to see all of you. Right? I didn't expect to see any of you tonight. All of y'all booed up in this boudet. Jonathan told me I was going to have to do this by myself, right? Well, Feast is a young
Teamwork.
woman. She probably
It's dream work.
Feast is a young woman. She probably bother with my old behind tonight, you know. But I'm
He's
glad
the
to see y'all.
newlywed.
Yeah, I'm glad to see y'all, and I know all of y'all got a lot that y'all want to talk about, just in terms of these recent developments from the Super Bowl and on and on and on and on in the land of hip hop. So we might as well just get into that and chop that up.
well, I, well,
Well,
that's how King.
well, let me
I
let me,
know.
let
Go
me
ahead. I'm
ask
sorry, Ed.
you. I just want to ask Zaid a question. Hey Zaid, I saw something where the police had ran up on Erica Ford.
Yes, we can talk about that for a moment. I told Erica she could come on. I was trying to get her to come on, and it's very suspicious. We also saw Mayor Adams, and I'm trying to be polite because I respect radio standards. But if we weren't on the radio, I'd be talking about him like a dog. Hakeem, you know how I get down, right? Uh, had a visit with Mr. Trump. They had quite a sit down, and he comes back from this sit down, opening the door, opening the gateway for ICE to do their thing, right? And we're gonna work with him, and then all of a sudden his charges go away. The same time that he's having this sit down with Mr. Trump, the police raid Erica's Life Camp office. Life Camp. Life Camp is one of the premier community based violence intervention programs in the city, going almost 25 years, led by one of my dear friend and comrades. She's a cub of the December 12th movement, right? And was really out in front on what we now call community-based violence intervention work in this area. They made they did it on the bogus premise of a shooting took place near their office. When they came into the office, they wanted to get their computer and their data and whatnot, uh, phishing, you know, for something that they did, that didn't even come into their doors, right? And Erica was trying to stand up to that process, right? And she actually walked in as it was already in progress, right? There is some video footage of that. And when it went outside, they arrested one of her staffers, right? So we have most of it on tape. Erica was, to her credit and to her discipline and commitment to principle, said she might have gotten a little too rough in terms of her responses. She could have been a little more diplomatic, but there was nothing at all right about them coming into their facility and trying to get information, because that's one of the things that's really important about credible messenger community-based violence intervention work. The lane of the police and the lane of the those of us who are in the streets making peace are two totally separate lanes. You try to say that they're together, you lose your credibility as a credible messenger by collaborating with the police, and you get looked at by the community as snitches as opposed to looking at as being genuinely credible about caring for people's welfare and changing their lives, right? So she held a line and was not going to allow her staff to be bullied into being put into that kind of bind, and it put her in a difficult spot. But she held a line, and she merits support. I told her that in Jersey we have a statewide coalition of community-based violence intervention programs, and that if the city doesn't have one, they definitely need to look at putting one together, because as this climate shifts to the right and police become more hostile, we're going to see more incidents like that, right? We just had new direction on. I ended the conversation acknowledging what happened to Tut and Shadi, each of them separately, just in the past year, right here in Newark. And Newark, we're supposed to be ahead of the game in town. But that relationship is always a slippery slope, to put it mildly. So, yes, it did in fact happen, right? And they're trying to figure out how to play that so they can continue their work without that undue hostility that came from a new police chief in that district, around the same time that this man sits down with Trump and gets and sells us out. Sells us out. So I'm glad you raised that, Ed, because that's my analysis of that. And it's, it's why this is another reason why this work is so challenging and ultimately so dangerous. Right? You can catch it at either side. So we got to really be strong and really be about standing on your square. And I'm very proud that she did it. Erica also has a book coming out. It's already out. And one of the things that I'll be trying to do with the Malcolm X commemoration committee, because Malcolm was the daddy of the credible messengers, right? Is bringing some of those stories that are in book form into Newark as a part of a book signing series, right? To lift them up. So I'm looking forward to when I can bring Erica into town so she can lift up her story as a credible messenger, with her new book, because she helped write the book on that work in this particular moment. I'm very, very proud of Erica, right? Hakeem, you might remember her from the days of the Million Youth March.
Erica's my sister. I've done a lot of work already with life camps. Me and life camps go back in 2000s. I was working with her at life camps. I've done a number of things with her in Queens.
All right.
Roy Wilkins Park. Is that? Yep. So yeah, I've done a number of things with, and she's been at 24 Hours Apiece a bunch of times. Anti-violence, working with young people using hip hop culture. Her connection to the hip hop world, the rap world, is extensive, is next level. Ja Rule, Irv Gotti, rest in peace, Murder Inc. Like, she's done a bunch of work with them, getting young people internships in the music industry, educational enrichment, using her connections with hip hop, like, for years. And what I'm hearing, because I'm just finding out about this, thank you, is upsetting. It's really upsetting. I can remember her doing work with Eric Adams, or bringing Eric Adams, doing some collaboration at times. So that's like real.
Before he became mayor.
Before he became mayor, and as mayor as well. Like, very recently, in the last year, it's 2 years or so. Erica has done some things. I don't know if as a producer or just as a guest, but Eric Adams was present and, collaborative. KRS-One did the Walk This Way, and there was supposed to be more collaboration with the city from the mayor's office that didn't happen, but still worked with the city to pull it off. And Eric Adams has presented himself as someone who could, be trusted by the community. He tried to make inroads with hip hop culture and rappers to try to give that, him and Fat Joe, celebration of 50 years of hip hop. Like, you present yourself a certain way, but like, the proof is in the pudding, the proof is in policy, and the proof is in, alleged criminality. Like, you gotta, if anyone's above the law, no one can be beholden to the law. If your leaders and your officials are, doing criminal things or corrupt, then anyway, I just want to see what happens with Erica Life Camps and how that pans out. That's going to be really interesting. And as you pointed out, as things move more to the right, I expect the targeting of folks within the hip hop activist community. We can expect that to get turned up as well. So we have to protect ourselves and defend ourselves, and really look at this strategically. A lot of us are out here on islands, and freedom of speech, but your actions have consequences, and we have to learn how to deal with the consequences and move, appropriately, because of our speech, because we have the power of voice, because we shape people's imaginations and the possibilities and our standing with the society at large. Case in point, what happened with this Super Bowl halftime, and Kendrick Lamar and him purposely crafting his show to convey a very specific messages, because it was various So, as a hip hop artist, as an MC, as a rapper, just watching it from that perspective, my immediate, once I saw Sam Jackson, I knew it was going to be turned up in terms of the message. With him as Uncle Sam, I knew it was going to be, and if Sam's history in activism and protest, and he's got an extensive. So even though he's Sam Jackson, the actor, he's got a history of making certain very principled stances to align with Kendrick Lamar, Sam Jackson, as this. I think they say Sam Jackson has done more movies than anybody else in the history of Hollywood.
Really? Wow.
Films, or he's like,
he's got a body of work. He's got a full body of work.
He's been in has grossed more money than any other actor lead in Hollywood. That's crazy. So him to start that performance out, Uncle Sam, and then do his thing. Oh my God, that was brilliant. That was brilliant.
And it drove white folks crazy. I know that.
Oh,
I didn't see it, but all the stuff in the media is like, they couldn't handle it.
And they did a whole panel discussion behind it too.
See,
but Hawk, I want to ask you a question though, because I thought you gave the performance a C. Why?
Say it again.
You gave the performance a C.
So my initial thing, that's what I was getting.
Initially, yeah.
I couldn't hear him.
Me either.
I couldn't hear him.
Right.
And he rhymed. His cadence is one where if you're not really locked into his work, you're not really catching what he's saying. He's saying something,
right?
But you don't know what he's saying. So it takes a listen over and over. And when you're in a live performance, there is no listening. I can't rewind. Right. However, see, that's the thing about Kendrick. This is what always happens with me. I hear him the first time, and it's like, but as the layers get peeled back, and you see all these things that are layered within his body of work, it elevates what he's saying. See, I'm a child of like Rakim, Chris, Kane, Coogee Rap, Slick Rick, Chuck D, LL Cool J. Like my ear is a certain ear, right? So with PE, they're like, it's in your face. You really ain't got to peel back the layers because they're telling you what they mean. With Kendrick, as an artist, this is with the
little dude with a little voice.
MC level, and then there's the artist level.
Yes.
On the artist level, he is the pinnacle of artistry in American culture right now. It's bigger than hip hop.
Well, he's already has what's the Pulitzer Prize already, and I would think he would get another one, but how they even peeled back, like what I put in there with the gaming and how he set up the whole stage with the gaming and the flag. I mean, like you said, there's just so many different layers, the lean, and then you listen to different platforms and how if you get it from a gamer's perspective, you can learn a little bit there. If you get it from the panel perspective, you get a little bit more there. So it's a lot.
He said at the end of his joint, turn off the TV. On TV. He's on TV. And he told us to turn off the TV.
Wait, nobody did that since Ferris Bueller. Remember Ferris Bueller did that years ago? Like it's over.
He said, he says this is the halftime performance at the Super Bowl. This is supposed to be the most watched event all year, right? He said, turn the TV off. And 113 million people turned it off. They said that was the law. No, I'm serious.
Oh, they turned it off?
They turned 113 million people turned off the Super Bowl. Now,
wow.
Part of it probably was because the game was so lopsided, it was kind of over. Philadelphia Eagles came in, punched the Kansas City Chiefs.
Didn't start until after the halftime.
Early. Now, you was there to see the halftime, like most of the people that tuned into the Super Bowl was there to see Kendrick perform Not Like Us. And because they were there to see him perform Not Like Us, caught this whole other thing.
I gotta be honest.
People, see, this is the thing about art, right? I read somewhere today, somebody put this up. It said that art is supposed to make the disturbed comfortable and the comfortable disturbed.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. It's supposed to make the disturbed comfortable. The disturbed, the people who are being oppressed, the people who are caught in what they're caught in, having somebody to speak for them, give voice to their struggle, give voice to their fight. He did that. That made us go, finally we got what we've been looking for, which hasn't happened for me since Public Enemy. That's why he's the most important artist since Public Enemy to me.
Right? And it's funny you say that, huh? Because I said it's like Kendrick Lamar got everybody back, because they like everybody doing pieces on Serena now. From where I was like, there's a whole piece on Serena, because they showed the part where Hakeem, after processing it, did you change your grade? Principal Kafele said, because he had even spoke up about her husband, and I'm like, her husband's not even a rapper. Why is he even talking about her husband years later?
Well,
go ahead.
There's an elephant in the room.
Okay.
White man.
Mm-hmm.
That's an elephant in that's a layer of the conversation. Right. That when you think about Serena Williams, the queen, the GOAT, the greatest of all time, Black woman coming from Compton, California,
with a guy from the burbs.
This is like, she's like, is she us or is she them? I don't know. Like, how, you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, it was a lot for everybody on that side.
I don't know. I'm not saying no. I'm not saying yes. I'm saying
it's a question.
That's a layer. But that's a layer, even with having her a part of it, makes us analyze ourselves. It makes us question who we are and how we relate. See, that's what art is supposed to do. It's not about agreeing with it or disagreeing with it, or it's about breaking it down to see what is being said and how we can be better by whatever position you take in it. Like the whole so you had a dancer for Kendrick Lamar who's in the middle of this big political statement at the Super Bowl halftime, the most watched event happening, period, point blank. A dancer pulls out a flag, says "Free Palestine, Free Sudan." Both flags are the same color, just flipped. Red, black, green, white.
Oh, when they pulled him off, when the police pulled him off?
Right. There's a protester, comes out, pulls a flag out. He's a dancer, but he's got to make a statement. He runs across the field with this flag. Free Sudan, free Palestine. Red, black, green, white. Think about that. At the Super Bowl halftime with Donald Trump sitting right there. That's the other thing. This whole performance is happening in front of Donald Trump. Think about that for a second. This statement of power, of blackness, is happening in front of Donald Trump. The protester with
a black Uncle Sam.
With a black Uncle Sam, while Kanye has a commercial for his website where he's selling a Nazi shirt. Think about that.
Oh my God.
I mean, what's 30 years ago said this is in 2025. You would have said not in a million years that's gonna happen. There's nowhere in the world Kendrick Lamar is gonna make that type of statement at the halftime Super Bowl in front of the president of the United States, who happens to be Donald Trump, where one of his dancers holds up a flag, runs across the field, and Kanye is gonna a black artist is gonna run an advertisement for a Nazi T-shirt. Think about that.
Can't make that up.
Can't make that up. There's so much going on right there. The fact that white people hate it, or those particular white people hate it, means it did its job. Because now they're questioning themselves and they don't like what they see. The worst thing that could have happened is.
Well, I can tell you what they can do. Next year's Super Bowl is going to be a country western star.
Yeah, with Beyonce.
Do you remember after Michelle and Barack's second term, and then they revealed Michelle's portrait and had a little girl just sat there and looked at it for a long time? That's how it was. Like everybody was just looking at the Super Bowls, like it was just so much to just art. Yeah, that's what art does. Yeah, that's good. That's exactly what art. You look at it from different angles. Yeah.
Principal Confetti. What grade do I give it now? I mean, I give it an A. Give it an A plus, right?
A plus.
My initial grade was strictly from the fact that I could not hear him, and the way he rhymes, the way he raps, it's just not. It's not for my ear, but it's not about me. It's about what he's able to do to everybody else, and that's always been the case with Kendrick. That's just to be honest. As an MC,
and then he gets extra credit for getting 113,000 people to turn off the TV.
113 million
to turn it off.
Yeah. Oh my God. It was.
You know.
And then he killed the Grammys before. What he got? Best song, best album, five right?
5 Grammys. Yeah.
5 Grammys.
Yeah. He's been able to do what no one's been able to do since Public Enemy, and that's capture mainstream's attention, representing blackness, black power, and
being true too. That's right. Being true. That's right.
So,
but I got to tell you, man. Kim and I was at a sports bar, and I got to tell you, man, it was all the black people was partying right during halftime. White people was completely stunned. They were like this. The black folks were singing all the lyrics, man, and they were partying. I mean, it was incredible, man. And then because Kim and I, Philadelphia is my team, but I was so blown away after I couldn't really hear it, but I was so blown away by the visuals. After it was over, I left because I was stunned. I was like, whoa, because I was amped up, Hawk. I was amped up the whole night just for that. I was just waiting. I was in total anticipation. And after it happened, man, it was like a big release, right?
Well, how can you take us back? When did they start? Because we've been talking about this for how long? How long we've been talking about? It's like everybody said we want to thank the Super Bowl for showing up to the Kendrick Lamar concert.
Yeah, it was like March, April of last year. We've been waiting for.
We've been talking about since March.
Yeah, I think whenever Jay-Z made the announcement, whatever the NFL made the announcement that he was the Super Bowl halftime entertainment, we've been talking about it because it happened in New Orleans. There was no Wayne, of course. Drake is.
And then when the song came out, and then Jonathan, I mean, it must have been like 3 weeks of breaking the song down.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the interesting with the Drake Wayne relationship. Wayne not performing, all of that conversation around Wayne not performing, and how that kind of was like it was deep. I mean, we were struggling with this idea of Kendrick Lamar at halftime, for a good 10 months, Yeah. So yeah.
Yeah. And everybody, then people started, we want to thank the Super Bowl for showing up to the Kendrick Lamar concert. That was like the tipping point.
He didn't disappoint. He did him and took him to the next level. And that's real. Yeah.
But what kind of heat do you think Jay-Z's gonna take next year? What do you think?
I mean, it's really, I don't think it's about Jay-Z taking heat as much as it's just society moving to the right, like Zahid said earlier. So society's gonna change in mainstream media, and we see with them gutting DEI, diversity, equity, inclusion. Anything having to do with, I mean, there's a whole list of words that can't be used in the federal government.
Yeah.
Like they put out
Right.
an entire
Right.
dictionary of words, community activists, like just so I can't remember. I heard it
And
yesterday.
shout out to Jersey, Scissor's own Jersey, who's out there too.
She was a part of the joint.
Yeah, she does. I didn't realize she did so much work with Kendrick Lamar. She's done several
Yeah,
tracks with him. But straight out of Essex County, Scissor.
yeah.
Go ahead,
And
Hawk. I want to know because I
speech.
think I think Jay-Z, I mean, for him to do what he did and letting Kendrick do his thing, I mean, I'm curious, how much heat Trump is going to put on Goodell. You know what I mean, to make sure going forward that he doesn't, allow that kind of imagery to come forth next year.
I mean, they could probably split the hairs though.
Mm,
You can get a white artist who's still quote unquote urban, so it's not, or you can just go straight country western. I mean, it's the Super Bowl,
mm,
so it's if they did country western, if they did Taylor Swift, if they did, you can go in so many different directions, without it looking like there's heat being put on somebody.
But
mm.
they did country western at Christmas.
Yeah, but I mean, it's still the NFL. I mean, the NFL is
Yeah, it
yeah.
was NFL. And they did that on what did they do that on
Did Beyonce?
Beyonce, and they did it on Netflix, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it was Beyonce.
Hmm.
I gotta say,
Mad
man,
at that.
you
They
know,
I
can't.
love it.
I definitely have my issues with Jay-Z, man, but I definitely want to big him up for allowing that
Yeah,
young brother to do his thing, man. You know what
yeah,
I mean? Because that in and of itself, man, is going to live in infamy for a very long time.
yeah. Yeah.
And
And I've had my criticisms of Jay-Z over the years.
mm,
Like I have deep criticisms of what he represented and
right,
whatever. For the last 10 years or so, 10, 12 years, he's been super stand up.
mm,
And the one hiccup with Colin Kaepernick, I wish he had never said anything about Colin Kaepernick.
yeah,
I'm glad
me too.
I'm glad he did the NFL deal because look what we have with Kendrick Lamar. Like
Mhm,
that's phenomenal. And I always felt that it was only right that Rock Nation Sports, Rock Nation do the halftime show for the Super Bowl. That just makes sense to me. That's great business, right?
yeah,
But don't say anything about Kendrick
Colin.
Colin Kaepernick. Like don't even address it. Don't even
right,
bring it up. Because
right,
now you're doing their work for them. You don't need to do that. Let them make that statement, not you.
right,
But that's a bump in the long road of Jay-Z, the businessman,
right.
entrepreneur, whatever, and the things that he's done from the Trayvon Martin documentary to the support for Khalif Browder and getting
Yeah,
that
thank you, Khalif
there.
Browder.
So, like, I mean, he puts his money in so many different places, and he's very
Yeah.
stand up about how he does certain things. So kudos to him for
And I can't even call him Fat Joe anymore because Fat Joe is so slim now. But Fat Joe's like, hold up. First we said hip hop wasn't. He did a nice speech. He said first we said hip hop wasn't represented at the NFL. Then Jay-Z got to the table. Then he named like, since he's been at, say, like Rihanna, how many artists have been there since he's been at the table?
yeah,
And he said, so let's just slow down and just wait a minute, take a breath. He did a nice piece on that. Like, let's just all slow down. Let's just see what's gonna happen, and then let's talk about it afterwards. And
yeah,
I
But
think
not to cut you off, Donna. One of the things I was thinking about though was that because I said this to Bashir. I was saying when are we going to have in this era, right? Because back in the 70s, remember you had Marvin Gaye with What's Going On, right? And I was saying, when were we going to have hip hop artists that got a national stage going to make a national statement, right? To talk about what's going on. And I got to tell you, man, I was pleasantly surprised when Kendrick did what he did, man. And I'm just, I mean, I'm telling you, Hawk, man, I'm still, I'm still just feeding on that, man. Like, wow. Like, that kind of stage. And I'm saying you blowing me away by telling me that many people turned off the television. I'm wow.
Yeah, he said turn off the TV, and after his show, he had the game over in the audience, big
Game
game
over.
over, and then you come to find out the ratings, 113 million people turned off the Super Bowl after the halftime show.
You know how they're probably saying we're never going to give that Negro there that kind of stage again. He told them to turn off the TV.
Right, but
Well,
at the same time, it was the most watched NFL
yeah,
time. It was since
they already got the money.
right, like they got this. So at the same time, it's a wake up call to say this is actually what this type of music, this type of entertainment will draw. See, that's the thing about 24 hours apiece, right?
Yeah.
It part of why we did this was to show that peace, love, unity, and safely having fun. Conscious hip hop, message oriented music will sell, does have value, can make money. We just have to market it.
Right.
We need more conscious artists. No, we need more conscious marketers and promoters.
Right.
And people who understand how to reach with the consumer, which is nothing but the people. Where the people at? Where the consumer. Everybody, there's somewhere in the world, there's somebody protesting, there's somebody standing up, there's somebody being oppressed, there's somebody going through something, and they need a soundtrack too. So we need to make songs and music and art that speaks to those stories, that mindset, those battles, those struggles. That's what Kendrick did. He gave the voiceless a voice on the biggest stage in the world. Like, that's incredible. It's amazing.
Yeah. And like I said, when I seen the whole piece about Serena, I was like, my goodness. And how long was Serena on there? All of what? 3 minutes? 2 minutes?
Yeah.
Serena and Drake used to date.
Right.
I didn't know that, and I heard that.
Yeah. So everything that he was doing was signaling.
Mm-hmm.
He had the chain on with the lowercase a for A minor.
What they talk about the piece on his hat? I mean, and then they broke down like the Super Bowl only gives halftime performers like maybe 15, and the stage alone might have cost 15 million, and how much he had to contribute to get that whole set done and to play and to pay for all the staff and all of that. And they broke down like you said, the chain, the piece on the hat. I mean, there was so much symbolism. And I don't know. I have to go back and look, because when 40 Acres and a Mule, there was a woman who broke down 40 Acres and a Mule versus the Homestead Act, and how would you feel? And she said it made me think, and it was like, wow, So and how long all week people have been commenting and thinking about the performance.
Yeah, there are some real good analysis out there too. There are, where people actually, broke it down, and it was just incredible. Like I said, Huck, I'm still just sometimes a quiet moment, just to be like, wow.
Yeah, got the Squid Game concept in it. You got, we're being played as a game, like Hunger Games theme. Then you got the black bodies making up the U.S. flag.
Yeah. Yeah.
He got so many different that it takes a minute. Like, people are going to, for the rest of maybe until June, July, peeling back layers, and you finding out he had another message, another jewel there, and another jewel there, and this when that happened.
And even the light ones, like how many dances did I learn from the and they doing the dance, like different dances he was doing, like the serious part, the light part of it, and just the whole people replaying it, people, the memes from it as well. It's just
how it would be dope, man, if at 24 hours apiece, if we could get KRS-One, Chuck D, and all of them, on a stage and to talk about it
together.
These brothers who are some of the most respected, MCs in our community who really sold into our spirit, right? The kind of music that helped us develop consciously. It'd be interesting to get that, man.
To have them talk about
Yeah,
and that'll be X amount months later, and then they really have time. Let's revisit.
I know we could, we got it. We got ends in the Chuck. We could probably pull Chuck on, and I'm sure you could probably pull KRSS one. But I mean, I'm talking about out there 24 hours a piece, and let them kids hear that from these brothers would probably be awesome, man.
What we're gonna do is go back time, February 9th, 2025.
It's kind of crazy that you said that because we've already started planning for next year, or for this year, excuse me.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not really that's in the ballpark of what the theme is what we're going for. So we'll definitely follow up on that and see if we can make it a reality. That would be great. Man, I'm just gonna put this out there. I want Kendrick Lamar at 24 hours apiece.
Whoa, nah, you
that was a surprise, Hawk.
You couldn't do that. You know why? Because you'd have to close the city down. Couldn't even get in.
We said, get there by, or you won't get in.
It's a surprise.
We'll see. I'm just bugging right now, just for the people listening out there. I'm just putting it in the ether to see what happened. You know what I mean?
But I'm sure at times when you used to do it right at Broad and Market, it had gotten to the point where you had to shut off sometimes down there because of how big the crowd when you was right at Broad and Market, how big the crowd got. So I'm sure.
There's no way you could market that, Hawk. You couldn't market it because people would be sleeping on buildings, didn't know that brother.
You don't even. You just special guest appearance. You try to pull them in.
Exactly.
You don't really. Mm-hmm. But again, like I was saying, just as a disclaimer, that's just me. Just put ether. There's don't. Kendrick Lamar gonna be at 24 hours apiece. No.
Remember Ed said on February 14th that Kendrick was going to be there?
Put something special up going forward. Nope, we did not say Kendrick coming to 24 hours apiece.
Ed said it.
Confirm that's not happening.
Wish bucket list.
But you can have him from the screen come in. Now that can happen.
Be dope. That would be maybe figure out because what we're doing in Newark, New Jersey, courtesy of Mayor Roz Baraka with 24 hours apiece is elevating the true principles of hip hop culture: peace, love, unity, and safely having fun. And I know that's what Kendrick Lamar is all about ultimately. So I'm sure he would buy into the message if we can get it in front of him. So I just gotta get on my dean.
And as eight great. Wait, what was the two young men on that? That's what they just started talking about, how they took how Mayor Baraka, when he was their principal, showed them how to, come down every Wednesday and have conversations and will bring credible people in to talk to them. So listen, this is how this conversation started off. So it's only right.
Yeah. So that brother. But the OGs as well. You mentioned Chuck, KRS-One, of course, Rakim, Kane, Brother Jay from X Clan. There was a time when what Kendrick Lamar represents for us, that was the culture, that was the norm, that was the to see that we've had touches of it from time to time, like the neo soul movement was kind of getting back to that a little bit. You had the Afro punk folks who kind of the alternative, kind of more artsy, message-oriented music that pop off. Afro beats has that same feel, but the vocalization of revolution, the wake up call, we haven't really had that in a long time. And K-Dot is just that. It's like, and he does it
artistically.
Years, it's like he's saying all this stuff that you didn't catch when he was performing. You can't really hear it. That's the thing. His cadence is one where I don't really hear what he's saying. I gotta really plug in to his music, and
Even to the
figure it
one
out.
that said, wait, when they was like, and when he brought out what kind of jeans did he have on? When they was even talk about what you
He had the bell bottoms.
yeah, and I mean they even hit like, wait, when everybody went up to their closet and snatched the jeans out and brought those back out and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So it was just
Big shout out to Shabazz Brothers. They have a denim line that's bell bottomed. So I got put on about a year and a half ago. Is what the kids is doing. They taking it back to the 70s. I was like,
bell bottoms, yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
I noticed that too when he first came on.
yeah.
Oh, he got on bell bottoms. Like, what's up with that? You know?
Remember the ones you had with the patches on them, and you had all the different patches, and it was wide legged and they different patches. That was like my favorite pair of jeans I had, and those are very popular right now.
But again, Donna, and how I think what it's showing is the power of hip hop in terms of marketing, right?
mm-hmm.
I think that and the culture, right? That it drives culture. I mean, think about that. That is going, with him coming out with bell bottoms, that is going to drive a whole industry. Watch,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
With people
Mm-hmm.
making millions, if not billions of dollars off of what he just displayed visually. You're going to see everybody wearing that over the summer, right?
Yeah,
And that speaks to the power of the culture. And that was
yeah,
one of the things I was trying to when we were having this conversation with Minnie, I again, man, we've got to find a way. I'm saying as a group of people, we've got to find a way when we're doing those kind of things, right? How do we benefit from it as a group of people, right? Because the people that are going to make those are probably going to be in China somewhere, right? They're going to be like, oh, let's cut a deal with so and so, but you're
Mhm,
going to have tons of knockoffs, right?
mhm,
We're going to do it, and
mhm.
young people are going to buy them everywhere, and people are going to get rich from it.
Yeah.
yeah.
Some
I
blinged
mean,
out jeans. Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah. It's difficult to throw back to the Kanye website. Um, he made $2 million in like 24 to 48 hours off a T-shirt with a Nazi symbol on it, and then the store was hosted on Shopify, so they
Mhm,
shut it down. Right. So I had a conversation with a friend of mine about how genius it was for him to sell T-shirts with a Nazi symbol on it, and I'm like, man, you out your mind. That's not dope. That's not genius.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
that's not positive. That no, you understand? He made $2 million and off these these crackers and da, da, da. I'm like, no, man, that empowers them. You
mhm,
don't ever want to tap into their energy and promote their energy to grift, like you're grifting off of something that's negative. Now,
mhm.
apparently, Kanye's worth $1 billion. Like, what's $2 million to a billionaire? Like, that's nothing. Like, what's $200 to someone with a million? Like, that doesn't make sense to me. What's the purpose of you running an ad campaign for the Nazi symbol?
yeah.
So today, my wife shared an article with me about one of the Midwestern states, I believe. They're trying to put a bill for the Board of Ed there
Mhm.
to be able to raise a Nazi version flag. Real
Wow.
talk, real talk. Like we're at a time in history right now. A lot of folks, too many people, really don't understand where we are in history right now.
Right.
Really going on, and the
Yeah.
Mhm.
juxtaposition of a lot of voices. Like we're the messaging, the conversation is like facing off now.
Right.
And where do we go with it? That's extreme. So the reason why I brought that up is that Shopify shut Kanye down in 24 hours. I remember Kanye having a conversation where he basically blacked out. He crashed out on Sway in the morning about how he was, he's in the fashion world. He's trying to get his merchandise out there, and he's trying to play on a level of a fashion game that doesn't accept Black people,
Oh
essentially.
yeah. Mhm. And
Right?
Sway was just asking him a question.
Like, why don't you just build your own factory? Why are you complaining that they won't let you in? You're complaining that they won't let you in when you have enough money to build your own. Now, like it's we have these very
You gonna kill him, yeah. Queen Kim said they already wearing Kendrick Lamar jeans. There you go.
right. We need to be manufacturing Kendrick Lamar jeans, like the brick and mortar manufacturing plant that's making these things. We need to own that. You know,
Sam Champion.
we don't need to run to other people, whether they be Chinese or whether they be South American, or be Taiwanese or whatever. We got to figure out how we can create for ourselves, since we're the secret sauce that goes on all these products that make this money. We need to own the manufacturing and the product and the distribution chains of these things, and that's a large it's a big thing. But until we do that, it's like we're always going to get pushed out. We're always going to be pitted against one another. We're always going to be, put in a situation where, listen.
They froze.
Who's freezing? Who's hot froze? Who's gonna come back?
They froze hot because they know he's saying some real stuff.
So right, and it is, and it has to be different versions. Now I know his hat was blinged out with diamonds on it. So, there's different versions. We can get the cubic zirconia ones or the diamond ones. I already had some jeans like that. I could just pull down. There you go, Hawk. You back. Hawk, you on mute. Hawk, we can't hear you. We can't hear you.
Sorry about that.
Go.
I had to leave the room. So I'm gonna put myself on mute TV, so I gotta find a remote. Sorry about that, y'all.
Okay, there you go.
He dropped his tools.
But that's always going to be the case, right? Whenever we start talking about economics, right? Something is always going to happen to technology, because can you imagine if Kendrick, had a manufacturing plant in Compton, right? And jeans are selling at, $300, Kim said $300, $500 a pair. Can you imagine it?
Well, who was the basketball player who opened up something in China so that he sold everything not above $20?
New York, who played for the Knicks. Yep.
Who was it? Stephon Marbury. Yeah, because I remember he had a story. He made sure nothing would be priced over $20. Now he opened up. I think he still lives in Asia over there, but he purposely opened up over there so he can keep his market value low and everything. And he had a store up in Livingston Mall.
Yeah, but think about how dope that would be. What Hawk said. Imagine had somebody thought that, right, and said, when Kendrick come out and do that, we know what this is going to do, and you had manufacturing plant in Compton ready to go, bang, everybody, right, and that's a big hit, right, and everybody buy those jeans because and Hawk, you already know these white kids want that culture, right? They're gonna copy that right off the bat.
Yes,
right?
sir. Yeah.
But we do it at every concert, because every time there's an Essence Fest, there's a concert. You can come right out to concert and get the t-shirt. You can get the t-shirt inside, or you can get it outside for a little bit less, right? And they have them all printed up.
I mean, on that level, yeah. But in terms of manufacturing denim and leather products, and that's a heavy lift. When you look at a person like Dapper Dan, speaking of hip hop, he's the king of the period, point blank.
Dapper Dan, yeah.
You got Louis Vuitton, you got Gucci, you got all these different brands that he's taken and flipped, and made all types of garments using other people's brand, essentially, to the point where he was an outlaw. He was basically on the illegal side, but his work is so world known, that they bring him in. Now he's doing designs for Gucci. He works for Gucci. And
we're talking about Kendrick?
No, we're talking about Dapper Dan.
Dapper Dan, okay. Dapper Dan. Oh yeah, Dapper Dan. Remember, yeah.
he's some type of consultant for Gucci.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Now, it needs to be Dapper Dan, not Gucci. Not Dapper Dan at Gucci. It needs to be Dapper Dan.
Right.
His own stuff.
When it was Dapper Dan at Mark 125 back in
Right.
the day.
Or whatever, like in terms of his name itself needs to be
Mm-hmm.
on par with the brand Gucci.
Right.
When you see that brand, Gucci, Louis Vuitton, the many others, Coach or Dolce Gabbana, or it's literally just a brand. It's a thing. My wife makes brands. You got your signature is a brand. Like
Right.
that's all it is. Now, when we take the merchandise and we get it designed and made, we outsource it. So, for instance, glasses, all the designer glasses all come from the same company.
Mm-hmm.
Glasses themselves, the designer glasses that you'll pay, $4, $5, $6, $7, $800 for, cost $60, period.
Right.
And it all comes from the same place. What gives it the value? The signature.
Name.
Right. So we need to own the thing that manufactures the material for the glasses.
Mm-hmm.
And then we can put whose ever brand on it. So then Dapper Dan's, he's the brand. He owns the facility. He owns I don't have to go to them to get my fabric at so-and-so. No, fabric comes from me. I go directly to my people in West Africa. They give me the finest, I ship it to the States where I have a team of young people or, people I'm bringing up in the game, or they're cutting and stitching, and I do designs. We own the whole thing. We're always running to them, and then they get to go, I know it's worth $1, but I'll give you 50 cents. Matter of fact, take 35 and be glad. Yeah, well, that's 5 cents more they was giving him, so I'll just take the
right.
Low
But Hawk, that's also the same scenario with music, right? With distribution, same scenario, right? The fact is that you all are the artists, and what happens? We always got to take your art to somebody else in order to manufacture and market it, put it out, as opposed to the artists being able to come together and say, you know what, let's create our own, distribution and marketing thing together.
Who's the kid that did everything on YouTube and he didn't have to pay? Is it Sue? And he didn't have to pay any record company because of YouTube. He just did everything through YouTube. Was that Sue?
Well, there's a young brother named LaRussell that his part of his reputation. He's a phenomenal artist. Got bars, conscious, very smart, and he's totally independent. And his business model is crazy, and it works for him. And he's been at YouTube, and he puts his stuff out through I don't know what platform, whether it's or how he sells his music, right? But he's totally independent, and he's been killing the game. You can do it that way. Like the real thing is bring everybody to your platform. Since it's digital, since you can use technology to kind of create your footprint where you're selling your merchandise. And like I got HakeemGreen.com. You need to go get that. Free download of my new single, Don't Sell Your Ass. And then we have merchandise. That is a merchandise. You can see I'm wearing some of it right now. And we have Don't Sell Your Ass merchandise. And you go there, you can buy merchandise from me directly. That's my
and just think, and had we been thinking that way, we had enough time to do it that way, since we've been talking about it since March.
Say that again?
We've had enough time to actually play it out that way since we've been talking about it since March. If we really could have had a line of jeans, if we knew what the outfit was going to wear, and then when you come out, everything was just going to be there to sell. We've been talking about long enough that it really could have been done in-house.
Yeah. Well, when we say in-house, it's like, he's an artist. He's a recording artist. He's coming up with so you need somebody else that you're affiliated with, that's what they do. And then, you kind of build it out that way.
Partnerships and
I'm
everything.
sure he's got so many opportunities and so many business ventures on his table that would just be another thing that he'd have to factor in. But Kendrick Lamar doesn't have to do it. That's something that, we need to do.
Right.
We need to figure out in the North community who could serve as that, manufacturer of, merchandise.
Queen Kim corrected herself. She says she's sorry. They're not 300 to 500. They're 1,200. Oh my goodness.
So that's the Kendrick Lamar's jeans.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, who knows who's making his jeans? He might have figured it out, actually, to be honest with you.
Mm. I know there was a young lady that Nike had canceled her sneaker because she got pregnant, and she went and did her own sneaker, and she's doing her thing now. So,
Yeah.
I mean, and I'm
that?
looking at there was a young lady, she's a track runner, and she got pregnant. So Nike canceled her contract. So she wouldn't go back to them, and she created her own sneaker. Now she's doing, I can't think of her name. And even Rihanna has a nice Puma out right now. Oh my goodness, this Puma that Rihanna has out right now. So I think we are learning it, and actually Rihanna and there's a whole thing that happened at the Met. It's like a whole table of her fiance are all gonna be at the table, and they're gonna be a lot of the decision makers behind the Met Gala this year.
Yeah, slowly but surely, we're making our way. We're finding our position. That manufacturing piece, not just with clothing, but with everything. We need to own the means of manufacturing, distribution.
I always think of if Union Market was still open, how you can just go over there and just get stuff made up, and there's a market outside in Seattle, and they have the name for the longest standing outdoor flea market. And I always thought that if Union Market was still open, we probably would have had the oldest flea market, because how long ago was think how long Home Depot's been there. How many years ago was Union Market out there? And that was just like, wow.
Yeah, I was like
That's a while back.
5, 6, 7, 8 teenage years. That was
Yeah. That was over 30 years ago, probably, right?
School shopping.
Mhm. And you went out there, you bought minks, you ate, I mean, it was just
Hardware stuff. They had tractors in there. The Union Market was like a spot. Like it was a place.
It was like vendors, it was like Mart 125, but as big as Home Depot is, with all vendors in there, and it was bananas. You can just go in there and come up with a concept, and they would do it. It was, I'm sorry that I always say that I wish they'd take Livingston Mall and they don't need another mall. We don't need another mall. They should leave Livingston Mall just like that and just bring all vendors up there. Because there is a space for vendors, and people like what vendors do.
We had an idea, Donna, that maybe we could bring some type of market concept to Newark. And,
right. Yes. Yeah, bring you in on that, Ed.
We have to build it out.
That's for off table talk.
Well, listen, y'all, we've come to another end of the show, and
yes,
definitely want to thank everybody for coming on. I appreciated this conversation with Hawk tonight, man. That's got me kind of fired up a little bit right now. I was falling asleep, but that kind of fired me up, because I do think, man, that because hip hop drives the culture, it drives business, right? And we need to understand that the religion of America is really business, right? And we got to get that down. And the brothers who are the artists who create art, we need to really figure out how do we own it from A to Z, right? We got to get that. And I think that people like Kendrick Lamar, those young brothers that are on deck today, we've got to find a way to pull them old heads together in a room, right, and begin. And I'm hoping that over the
Good.
next years, with all that crazy energy that's going to be coming from Washington, that we can do that, man. You know what I'm saying? That we realize we need to depend on ourselves and control our industry. So
I want to tap in some of them foundations so they can help fund some of this work in the street.
yeah.
Well, before we leave, I know we've been waiting for Mike Barbie to come on, and he's had to post on. So we want to send our condolences. Mike Barbie is a friend of All
All of them
Politics are Local. He lost his mom, and they will be celebrating her life tomorrow. Um,
tomorrow morning.
Tomorrow morning. The wake is at 9 and the funeral is at 10 a.m. So we want to send our love and our condolences to Mike Barbie, who we know who will be coming back after he's had his time to celebrate and mourn the loss of his mom.
Yep. Big shout out to Brother Mike. Big shout out.
Can,
And
can I?
you want to thank the rest of those folks that was on?
Yeah, we had some of everybody on. I want to Lisa Davis. We're in court with her for February 21st. My young men from New Directions, Tut and Shadi. Appreciate those young brothers and what they're doing in the street. Sabrina and her husband, the Foster family, and my and
Rempella Square.
yeah, yes, Abdullah, all the great work that she does with Black Lives Matter grassroots for bringing that story, now making
And
that
the
a national.
Foster family.
Yes, yeah. So it was a full set. It was a full set. Now, when I was still trying to get my equal justice young organizer on, Josie Alexander, she had a situation with child care, so she wasn't able to join us. But we had a really, really full set, right? And it was a struggle to get anybody on because all of y'all booed up. I'm blued up. Y'all booed up.
Blue.
But everybody, I think they're gonna be sending some video for Greg Foster Jr. so we can put on the Facebook page and a message about calling down Alabama. So we want to thank them and just remind
I
some
have
of
it
the
all
things to
on
do.
the YouTube page. Yeah, it's
Okay.
all there. We can
Hey,
lift it up.
can I just quickly say rest in peace to Gerald Gregory. Gerald be cool. Gregory, brother who taught me how to rap.
Yes.
He just passed away. His funeral's tomorrow at Cotton's Funeral Home. And I just want to say my condolences to the Ingram and Gregory family.
Okay. Thank you.
Condolences. Next week, y'all will not see me here because next Friday is the 60th anniversary of the assassination of Malcolm X. I will definitely have my hands full in the city. We're going to be at the Hotel Teresa, where Malcolm organized and where he received Fidel. We're going to be lifting up the Cuban Revolution and the importance of solidarity with Cuba at this critical hour. And Shabazz Center will have its gathering at 7 o'clock. And December 12th.
Something that's just at the bookstore tomorrow too.
Not tomorrow, Sunday.
Oh.
Sunday we have Felipe.
Okay.
I'm thinking, Donna. Felipe Luciano will be at the bookstore 12 noon on Sunday, lifting up his memoir. Right? So folks definitely want folks to come on through that. 12 to 3, Source of Knowledge Bookstore, 867 Broad Street.
All right, y'all. We thank everybody for tuning in as usual. Of course, y'all know if it's Friday, y'all know it's all politics are local. And I just want to big those young brothers up, Donna, how smart they are politically, right?
Yes.
They need to be so young, right?
District leaders on and getting on a Republican ticket. Yes.
And the moves he pulled in the South Board, right? I know Mayor Baraka might have been like, yo, you that smart, you got that? Yo.
He said, you want me to tell the real side or the flip side? I said, you got that.
You muted, Hawk. You muted, Hawk.
You still muted, Hawk.
You muted.
Young
brother, say it again.
Running on the Republican ticket?
He ran.
Yes. He ran on Republican. He said you needed all these names on the Democrat side, but you only needed 2 on the Republican. So he went and ran on the Republican line.
That was genius. Yeah. So just big that young brother up tonight, man. Really appreciate his contribution. Shadi, really keep pushing, brother. you're
That's
going
what's up.
to get to where you want to go politically. So thank everybody for tuning in tonight. We'll catch up with y'all next week. The mayor be here next week. Had a chance to meet with him this morning. Big up to my brother. So he'll be here next week with us. So as my brother always says, we'll catch him where's I?
In the whirlwind.
We'll catch y'all.
Happy Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
For those of y'all that got it, then y'all enjoy it. Yeah, don't stop.